All right, folks. This is Frederick Jones, founder and publisher of Saturday AM, and we are going to be getting started here very shortly. We're pitch session episode 3. We're waiting on one of our guests. So give us a moment. Let's see if we can try to get this up and running. I hope everyone is doing well today. All right, so folks, we're just having, again, a bit of a difficulty trying to get Morgan on. This is usually why we don't start immediately, why it takes us a few minutes, but I'm going to stop the screen here for just a moment and see if we can get Morgan in on this chat here. Okay, let's see here. Well, this is new, so we are having difficulty getting Morgan in, so I'm not sure if we may just have Morgan have to just view it the way everyone else does. Like I said, normally we take a few minutes to try to get this in. I'm actually going to be talking about the technical aspects of this tonight in relationship to a comment we received this week that I feel like needs to be addressed. But as of right now, I'm just going to try one more time, see if Morgan can join us. If not, we'll get started because I don't want to take too much of your people's time. We are got a ton of stuff going on right now, as I'm sure you guys know, and so it's certainly not in our interest to drag this out for too long. So let's see if we can get Morgan in here.
Hey.
There we go. Okay, so you're able to get in?
Yeah, I don't know what happened. It might have been because I was logged in on a different account. I'm doing this on my Surface, and it always goes to my alternative account, not my typical Gmail.
Sure.
So I don't know if that was the cause, but I've got that fixed.
Okay. Not a big deal. Not a big deal at all. So we are getting going here, and so we wanted to go ahead and I'll let everyone know we're giving a moment to get you in. So we will get things popping off here now. So folks, again, this is Pitch Session. I'm your host, the founder and publisher of Saturday AM, Frederick L. Jones. And we are actually joined by Morganne Walker. Morgan is a new member of the Saturday AM team, a really phenomenal member of the Saturday AM team. If you guys have tuned in to Pitch Session thus far, you've heard from a number of our folks. We've had Jay Oden, who was a new creator who's producing a series for us called Hammer. Of course, you guys may have had a chance to check out the very first one, Jin Chan Yamwai, who is from China. Jin is just really extraordinary. A big fan of Jin, just his knowledge and his talent level, and he's producing a comic for us called Zero, King of Thieves. So we're really excited to have Morgan join us in this episode. If you guys don't know Morgan, well, let's talk to Morgan right now. where are you from? If you can let everyone kind of know a little bit about your backstory in terms of how you got into comics and what you're currently doing.
So hi, I'm Morgan. If you didn't already know me, I've been featured in a couple of videos, so maybe some of you are familiar with me already. So I'm from Indiana in the United States. For those who aren't familiar with that, I'm basically a little bit south of like the Chicago area. We're between like Ohio and Illinois. Kind of a state that nobody really knows about sometimes. You know, born and raised in Indiana. I still live and work in Indiana. I went to school for architecture for 6 years, so I didn't study comics or anything related to animation. Or you know, I was originally going to do video games, but decided to go into architecture instead. And I work full time as an architect in an office in Indiana. My introduction with comics. I mean, I'm not one of those people who said that like, oh, I started drawing when I was 2 years old. I don't really know when I started drawing, but I think I was really interested in comics maybe around like 12 or 13 years old. And when I was 13, I discovered Shonen Jump. And my favorite manga to this day was Shaman King. So if you guys have read my work or see my artwork, you'll see a lot of influence from Take and Shaman King, as you can see there. So yeah, that's a little bit about me. I mean, like I said, I didn't study when I was in school, so I actually took about 6 years where I wasn't really drawing that frequently. And it's only been since I graduated in 2016 that I actually started doing more full-time work on Soulbeat. Well, not really full-time. I still work full-time, so it's still mostly part-time, but it's full-time in my part-time.
Cool. Well, so again, you guys can see, obviously, Morgan is extremely talented, and I think one of the aspects of her backstory that was always really important to me was the fact that, you know, she's got a professional background. Again, you know, one of the challenges, if you guys have seen our videos, you know that we talk about this so frequently about the dangers and the difficulties with making it in this industry, given the advancement of webcomics and digital space. But then the fact that what that means is that while it means that there's more opportunity, it means that any, you know, for lack of a better phrase, Tom, Dick, and Harry can hop in, and it causes a glut, and it causes a lot of noise that makes it difficult for talented folks to rise through, and for truly talented people to rise through. And so one of the aspects of Saturday AM that we've enjoyed is that, you know, we've been very fortunate. We've gotten amazing creators. When we started the company, we've attracted amazing creators, and then we find creators like Morgan, who at this level now, not only do they have the incredible skill set to produce really exquisite work, but they've also got the professional sense of knowing what it's like to work in a professional setting, to where simple things like organization and communication, things like that, they actually can manage that. So really excited to have Morgan with us. You guys can see here on the screen. If you want to follow Soulbeat, obviously subscribe to Saturday AM is the best way to do it. But we've got 2 chapters on the website, or 2 parts of the chapter on the website. So is that the case? Is it 2 chapters or just 1 chapter?
The full 1 chapter is up there. The second chapter, the next portion of it is coming out in 91. And then so chapter 2 would be complete. And I guess we could add that to the site. I didn't know if we were going to be adding more than just chapter 1, but currently chapter 1 is the only one up.
That's right. So, okay. So then again, if you go here, if you go to the website, again, it's www.saturday-am.com/Soulbeat. You'll have a chance to check out all the information about this cool series that we publish. Of course, it runs exclusively in our magazine, Saturday AM, and you can check out the first chapter in full by just clicking on this particular icon you see here on the screen. Actually, this icon right here. Down at the bottom, of course, there's also a link to subscribe. Morgan, I'd like you to take just a few minutes. I'm going to actually adjust the AC in my house because it's a little warm in my office. So I'm going to do that real quickly. Tell the folks what Soulbeat is. Just give them a quick rundown of the plot, and just 2 minutes. I'll be right back.
Right. So for anyone who is familiar with Dante's Inferno, that's pretty much the basic premise of the story. Is this character Dante, he realizes that he's a very bad person, that after this experience that he has with this old man and trying to actually do something good for once, realizes he wants to spend the rest of his life doing good. But then, you know, the question becomes, well, how do you do that? And, you know, how do you prove that, you know, heaven and hell is real? And, you know, what are the steps involved with that? But, you know, on this mission that he takes, he ends up, being introduced to a character from the afterlife who says, in order to do this, you have to take an actual journey to the afterlife. So the premise of the story is Dante's journey through the afterlife, and also his interaction with other characters, and just generally discovering what it means to be a good person. And as my blurb on the website says, he learns the secret of what it really means to have soul. So like I said, or like Frederick was saying, you can see the link up there. If you go to that page, you can find a full synopsis. You can find full character bios. We have at least 3 characters that I've put up there, the issues that it was in, and obviously where you can read the first chapter for free.
Okay, all right. Did you finish your? You
yeah,
did that fast?
Perfect time. Well, I also had a little bit extra time to promote the website some more. So
fantastic. All right. Well, folks, I'm sure there are a few of you who are new. So let's just kind of give you a quick rundown. I'm sure Morgan did that, but we are Saturday AM, and you may be asking yourself, okay, what is Saturday AM? We are the world's most diverse shonen manga anthology. What does that mean? It means that, first of all, we are lovers, absolute fans of Shonen Jump and series that come from other shonen magazines in Japan, like Weekly Shonen Sunday and Basatsu Shonen Magazine and other great magazines, of which there are many in Japan that feature what essentially is superheroes, but obviously not the way that we understand superheroes here in the West, and now, of course, globally because of the success of Marvel. My reason for creating this company and publishing it is that as someone who, first of all, grew up with manga long before most of you guys did, I was a fan of the art form back in the late 70s, early 2000s, or early 1980s, back when shonen meant far more adult content. I wanted to see content as an African American that looked like the world. I wanted to see new content that was being generated from all over the world. And so that's essentially what Saturday AM is. We have series that come from creators out of who have Korean heritage, who have Chinese heritage, who are from New Zealand, Nigeria, Hungary, and so on. Of course, the United States, Canada, and other places. And so we take great pride in what we've been able to start with this sort of diverse manga movement. When we started this back in 2013, there were very few companies and groups actively trying to do this. Since we started, we launched with issue number 1 in 2013, and we are about to hit issue 100 at the end of this year. And folks, that is certainly not easy, but that is something that far too people, I think, really appreciate the difficulties of it. We've done it with the same core group of creators that we launched the magazine with. Roughly 60% of those creators are still with us. And of course, we've attracted newer creators, amazing creators like Miss Morganne Walker. So if you want to support diverse shonen manga anthologies, if you love series like Apple Black by White Manga, Soul Beat by Morgan, Massively Multiplayer World of Ghosts, which features the first Indian American lead character, or Clock Striker, one of our biggest series that features the first shonen black female lead character. If you want to support amazing works like that, then go to our website, www.saturday-am.com. You are more than welcome to poke around, and there's tons of free material for you to check out, but including a free section here that you can, select one of our previous issues and read it completely. But we always would love for you to subscribe. So if you want to subscribe, it's really simple. It is super cheap. $5 gets you 20 issues for the year. And if you raise that rate a little higher, you have a chance to experience not just Saturday AM and then expanded backlog of our older issues. Again, we got nearly 100 issues out, folks. But you also get a chance to experience Saturday PM, which is our adult publication, or what in Japan would be considered seinen. So we're really excited. We've grown dramatically. We got some really big announcements coming. We'll tease some of those today. But that's not really the point of today's show, of course. The point of today's show is that this is all about pitch session. And so now if you are new to pitch session, this is our 3rd episode. We are really excited at the growth that we have seen with this. Really, really excited. This is just the show has taken off. In fact, I was doing something the other day. I was talking with White Manga, and we were talking about some upcoming plans we have with our YouTube experience. And Wyatt, of course, has a massive YouTube experience, and yeah, we've done pretty well considering that we have very few videos, and as you can see, we don't have the most sophisticated video production, post-production elements. But I have to say, though, you know, man, we have really been able to do some fun stuff, and you know, just kind of, you know, with our YouTube channel, really touch on things that no one else is doing, kind of like the magazine. And Pitch Session is one of the things that has really popped out as being something really successful for us. We've been amazed at the response that we've seen for it. So I want to thank everyone who has you know, supported us with the YouTube channel. If you haven't, please go and subscribe. You can do so. You just Google Saturday AM or search within YouTube Saturday AM, and you of course will see the famous Saturday AM logo and footprint. But Pitch Sessions is all about our ability to want to help new creators navigate this crazy, crazy space of webcomics, amateur webcomics, and having a chance to generate your own brand and generate your own comics and what that entails. And this particular aspect of what we do in this show is all about the initial pitch. How do you sell a publisher, a website, an investor, a fan on your series? And that's what this show is all about. Now, we do lots of other YouTube shows. We even have an exclusive show on Instagram TV, which also touches on other aspects of the business, mostly social media. So again, you know, we certainly hope that you'll check out all of our material, check out some of our older videos to get a full picture of kind of the highs and lows of creating original content. With that being said, again, this is Frederick L. Jones, founder and publisher of Saturday AM. I do want to, before we get going really strongly here within Pitch Session, I want to take a moment, as I often do, and I want to have a little bit of a conversation here with you guys. We're going to call this a very special Freddie moment. And so, you know, permit me a few minutes here. Morgan didn't know we were going to have a special Freddie moment. Morgan is used to this because we always have special Freddie moments.
I was going to say, I know in previous pitch sessions, but I didn't know we were actually labeling this special Freddie moment. I feel like there needs to be more to this graphic to really celebrate this. Well,
good point. Good point. Perhaps some of my amazing artists can deliver one. I have not. I was going to showcase the knowledge bomb artwork that Anthony Jackson did, but he makes me look like a short troll figure from Lord of the Rings, but in a suit. But I'm not even sure what that is. It's like a aristocratic, you know, maybe it's a sailor. I don't know what that outfit is.
I was thinking the more you know, like that graphic with the star going by, and that Freddie moment.
That would be good. That would be good. Okay, so special Freddie moment. This is specifically for new artists. Now I want to give some backstory here. We are doing, obviously, what we talk about in this show. We're doing something called Summer of Manga. Now, if you guys do not know what Summer of Manga is, some people will, some people don't. Summer of Manga is our attempt to take our magazine and the effort that we have with the magazine to showcase new creators. Now, we get notes, I get notes every single day, multiple times a day. I am not kidding with you. At this point, you have no reason to think I'm kidding. I've been saying this for 4 years. So I would imagine that I'm not Donald Trump. Surely I've built up a level of respect in terms of telling you guys something that is truthful. But folks, literally since we started Saturday AM, we have received notes, and it's gotten to the point now to where I go to bed at night and I receive notes. If I wake up in the middle of the night, there's a new note waiting for me or a couple of notes. And then when I get up in the morning, always a couple of notes. And that is a 7-day-a-week occurrence. We tripped that wire within the last, 7 months or so to where that now happens every single day. Not once a day, not once a week or twice a week as it used to be, but now 7 days a week we get notes all throughout the day from people around the world who want to join Saturday AM. Now, the show is all about, what it takes to get your work seen by anybody, including us. And we take from all the submissions that we receive from this thing that we do called Summer of Manga. And we share as best we can, because we don't want to embarrass anyone. We don't want to negatively affect someone. We share the information as best we can in these episodes. And I think that's why some of you guys have appreciated it, because these are very long videos and they do, 1,000 views. That's great. But what I have always been somewhat amazed by is the attitude that we tend to get from new creators, where and usually it's young people, but sometimes it's older people, people who I think should know better. Again, if you've got a professional background of any stripe, you should have some sort of common sense. Now, this special moment I'm going to talk about is basically all about getting real, and this will apply to some of you here. I'm confident that the next 1,000 views this video gets, it will touch a nerve of quite a few people, and inevitably there will be someone who will come and give us a down thumb on this video and so forth because we touched the nerve, but so be it. I think this is the #1 thing that affects the success of webcomics and affects the success of companies trying to go to the next level. Our objective is to compete with Viz and Shueisha and all these companies, Marvel. We certainly aren't doing this just because as a fan, or do this because we want to do all this extra work for for our own kind of fanboy motivations. We're doing this as a business, and so it's very important that I think a lot of young creators, new artists, just get real. Now, I received a note, and it was from not quite a young man, but it was from someone about Summer of Manga, and they were essentially upset because we had not gotten back to them about Summer of Manga. Now, let me say up front that this year, we've had a really busy year. For the first time ever in the history of Saturday AM, and of course, 4.5 years now, we've attended, 3 trade shows. We attended 3 Comic-Cons in the first 6 months of the year. And these are not Comic-Cons in our neck of the woods, folks. These are Comic-Cons across the country. So we went to Portland, we went to Philadelphia, we went to Cleveland. We have produced our second magazine, Saturday PM. We have prepared, obviously, for all the stuff we got coming up, which I'll talk about in a minute. And of course, in the process, we were actually 2 issues in the hole for Saturday AM, our marquee magazine, the big brand that everyone knows. We were 2 issues in the hole. What does that mean? It means that we published, since 2013, we have published 20 issues a year. That's how we get to 100 issues. 20 issues of quality, original, exclusive content. That means we've got to talk to creators. We've got to work with creators. We've got to talk and work with designers. We have to manage our funding. We have to produce, graphic design and covers. We have to, work with advertisers. We have to do all of this to get 1 issue out. And every year we got out 20 issues, except for last year. We got out 19 issues. Now it was 18 issues of Saturday AM, 1 issue of Saturday PM. And so we were 2 issues shy. So at the start of this year, not only do we have new creators like, Morgan, who was, hadn't even hit her first year with us yet, and Jay Oden, who was completely new, but we had, and then other creators who were coming, but we had March Art Madness, which is our gigantic art competition, and then we had Summer of Manga. So, needless to say, our job is the magazine. That's what our job is. Our job is not Summer of Manga. Our job is not to answer every single email we get saying, hey, I want to be a part of Saturday and what do I need to do? I know that might sound harsh, but that's what this conversation is about. This special Friday moment is about getting real, because I'm sick and tired of companies feeling like they have to kowtow to people who are not really fans. We saw this, by the way, a couple of weeks ago in San Diego Comic-Con. It was last week, where James Gunn was removed as director for Guardians of the Galaxy. Now, we don't have to get into all of that. I'll say this right now. I'm not a huge fan. The Guardians are my least favorite movie. Nor am I a gigantic fan of James Gunn. I think he's an interesting guy. Politically, he and I are on the same page. But beyond that, I don't really have much in common with this guy. I don't find his humor particularly funny. I think he's wildly creative, but that creativity that he produces doesn't fit me, and that's okay. I've never expressed that. Not publicly. I never really cared about that. Maybe one day he'll direct an Apple Black movie, but I've never, delved into that. But I was rightly outraged when comments he made a couple of years ago were expunged and then promoted all throughout social media, and of course Disney took that and then exiled this guy from Guardians of the Galaxy. Again, means nothing to me because I do not care about Guardians of the Galaxy. Could not care who directs it, just don't even care. What bothered me about it was the insincerity. The people who do not care about that which he tweeted, which was disgusting and completely inappropriate. And I keep hearing this comment about, well, he's an edgelord. I don't even know what that means. As an African-American, that means nothing to me. That just sounds like a cheesy kind of concept like awesome sauce. That does not match anything culturally that I respond to. But I know that it was a disgusting tweet that he made. He gets dragged through the mud by people who do not care about what he said. They themselves say worse things. So they are not a fan of James Gunn, like I'm not. They are not supporters of Guardians of the Galaxy, at least not apparently so, at least not his version of it, and neither am I. The difference is that while I never gave a damn about this guy and what he said and what he thought and yada, 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 I agree with some of the things he said politically about our current president. I didn't care. But this group did care what he said about the current president, and they decided to make him pay a price. And my argument, my concern with this is that what so many people, and of course many people are speaking out about this issue with James Gunn, is that these people who did that were not fans. They're not supporters. They're not fans. They have nothing to do with James Gunn, just like I don't. But yet they are going to be dictating what this man does. Now, you can argue about his behavior with the tweets, and I certainly would second that. He can lose his job and never get it back, and that does not bother me one iota. But the disingenuousness of it is what kills me. Now, let's switch that whole scenario to Saturday AM. So we do Summer of Manga not because we have to. We do Summer of Manga not because it provides us money. We do Summer of Manga not because there is a burning desire from our fan base to read the stories of people they do not know. We do Summer of Manga because the mission that we started that other groups try to copy about caring about diversity, we actually live it. My company that I built is not 99% black folks. Morgan is a white girl from Indiana. David Yoon is a Korean kid who lives in New Jersey. We've got White Manga, who's Nigerian. We've got Andrea Voros, who's Hungarian. My definition of diversity is everybody gets to play. So the groups who get featured in magazines alongside of us, I will never understand it I'll never understand it, because only one group really truly is fighting for diversity, and that's Saturday AM. We do Summer of Manga because we care about diversity. We do Saturday AM because we want to bring everyone to the table. Black, white, Latino, Asian, Native American, what have you. From big countries to small countries, whether you're Muslim, whether you're Arabic, whether you're Jewish, whether you're Christian, whether you're Protestant, whether you're Mormon, don't care. As long as you got a cool story to tell and you abide by the rules that we have, which is to tell really cool, exciting, original stories and to do it competently, we don't care. Don't care. So a couple of days ago, I get a note attacking us for Summer of Manga because we have, because someone, and their exact quote, and I'm not going to put this person on blast. I'm just, calling it what it is. You guys know by now, if you say something stupid to me, I'm going to put it on blast. I'm not going to put you on blast for two reasons. One, because I don't want our fan base, which is deep, attacking you. And number two, I have no reason to give you publicity. That's what half the people want anyway, is publicity off of us. But I get a note saying I'm really disappointed, yada, yada. I'm thinking like, okay, well, I'm disappointed 99% of the time. We're going to tell you, I'm yelling half the time to my artists about things that we're not doing. So join the Freddie Club. But this person's upset because, and I quote, y'all talk about starting videos and stuff, start the videos late. You guys, you said that you'd, get this stuff done. Now I have a chance to see what you guys are really like. And I'm thinking like, You don't work with us. You don't do shit with us. So how do you know what we're like? How do you know what Saturday AM is like? You're not someone we've hired. You're not someone that we've published. You're not someone that we interact with. You've not bought an ad from us. How would you know what we're like? This right here is going to be a 2-hour experience that will give you a snippet of my behavior, but you don't know me. You don't know Morgan. You don't know White. So how can you say that now that you see us, what it is? What it comes down to is that this person hadn't heard whether or not they were accepted in our Summer of Manga. And so they decided to try to attack us because they hadn't gotten what they wanted. Now, this happens so frequently where we get people who call themselves fans and choose to attack us that I felt the need to this time make a special comment and say, it's time for people to grow up and get real and stop being silly. If I have to be the guy who becomes the bad guy for this, so be it. But let me tell you something. Every company that you buy content from thinks the same damn way. Every company that you buy movie tickets from to go see their movie, that you buy their books in Barnes and Nobles, that you buy the action figures based on their properties and content, they feel the same way I feel. The difference is that, as you guys know by now, I do not possess that aspect to care about not telling you when you are being way out of line. Now, not all our fans are like this, obviously, but inevitably, in fact, one of our competitors came from this same behavior because they felt, a few of them before they hooked up with the guy who ultimately funded them, felt like they deserved more from Saturday AM, but they were so good that we should bend over backwards for them. We don't bend over backwards for White Manga. I don't know why we're going to bend over backwards for someone who's not even at White Manga's level. So I want you to focus on this right here, the number 3. The number 3, folks. Focus on that. We began Summer of Manga in April of 2018 for this year's Summer of Manga. It's a multi-month event. It goes on for several months. We produce it across a number of issues within Saturday AM. We get hundreds of entries from people around the world. To date, we've published 3 issues worth of material. Issue 88, 89, and 90. You can find them on our website right now. 2 of those issues, by the way, are for free. So please go check it out for yourself. And within this context of these folks that we've published, 4 of them, sorry, really, really amazing. No, I'm taking it back. They were all amazing. There were 3 of them that stood out to us because they were female. One of them was really original, and then the other 2 were interesting to us. Obviously we'll see where they go, but they were very interesting. So the final wave of Summer of Manga is happening right now. That's what we're going to be talking about today, the final wave. And that's a quirky little marketing term. All it means is that we're going to basically have our final opportunity for people to submit their short story pitches for us. That's it. That's all it means. Final wave, like a wave, Summer of Manga, summer, beach, surf, it's a bit of a stretch, but go with me. The final wave was our marketing line. So this individual, this young man who's younger than me by far, but probably older than a couple of you guys. Again, he's upset because we advised that if you were not a subscriber, you had X amount of time to get your pitch in. He hurried to get his pitch in, and he felt like, hey, I should hear something. I deserve to hear something right now. The number 3, folks. Let's talk about the number 3. 300 emails and messages in the last week about Summer of Manga. Of the entries we received on this last approach to Summer of Manga, which, by the way, finishes next week, on this last peg of entries we got for Summer of Manga, 35% of them were just straight up incorrect, meaning that there were links that we couldn't access. The grammar was jacked up. They put the wrong thing where they're supposed to put the stuff at. So when we collate it and put it out there so we can actually run through it, it was just wrong. What does that mean by it being wrong? Well, it means a couple things. Number one, it means that we look at that and go, okay, this person's not professional, not talented, not comprehensive, so we just cut them. But instead of us doing that, which by the way, every company would do that, because they don't, because again, like us, they just don't have the heart to tell you, or the balls or whatever to tell you. But like us, this is not their business. Evaluating work is not their job. Even if you're getting paid to look at work occasionally, it's not their job to look at everyone's stuff. So when we get 35% wrong, that's 1 out of 3, folks, or however you choose to look at it, if you know your math. Then we have to look at that and go, okay, wait, we need to try to work on this. We need to try to work with these folks, because we don't want them to just be dismissed. We don't want to just say, oh, your stuff sucks. So 35% wrong means that we gotta take time to try to contact that person and say, look, you got some talent. This stuff was wrong and this was wrong. We really want you to have a fair chance. So please work with us. The deadline for non-subscribers, by the way, if you're not a subscriber to Saturday AM, then that's its own type of craziness. Because if you're a subscriber, you get more time. If you're a subscriber, you keep us in business. God forbid you want us to publish you and treat you like God, treat you like the fucking Kobe Bryant of art, and you don't even support us to keep in business, considering that no one knows who you are and is having a fit to buy your stuff. You're asking us to jump through hoops for you, and you don't even support us. So the non-subscribers don't subscribe to us, and yet, and if they got it wrong or they're complaining, I don't have time to get it in, but I'm working on. So then what do? We turn around and provide 3 extra hours to get their content in. All throughout this process that this person is complaining that we didn't get back to him, and it just shows how sloppy we are. We're working on getting 3 graphic novels out for our creators. We just announced Mutton Chop, Paradise Down is coming. We got some other stuff happening. 3 tanks. Please go to any of our competitors and ask them how many books they got out. We produced 6 in 4 years, 2 of which are bestsellers, 1 of which is a strong seller in Europe. 6 books. And we have another 3 coming out this year. Three months is what we have to do right now, starting this coming week with issue 91. 3 months, because we produce 5 issues at a time every 2 weeks of Saturday AM. That's not counting Saturday PM. So we've got a 3-month goal to try to get content out. So in amongst this stuff of worrying about Summer of Manga, which we're not getting paid for, is not something our fans are clamoring for. Those who enjoy reading our content and paying for our content, that's what we're focused on. That's our job. And then 3 weeks. 3 weeks, because in next 3 weeks, we are going to Chicago. Morgan's going. Jay Oden is going. Anthony Jackson and Bharat Lujani are going. Tony Dawkins is going. I'm going. Andrea Voros, creator of Saigami from Hungary, is going. And maybe more people are coming. But we got 3 weeks to get all of our stuff together so we can be in Chicago giving our fans an experience to see Saturday AM. That means ordering new bookmarks, ordering new postcards, ordering more books for us to sign for you to buy, ordering prints so you can buy prints and put them on your wall. All this cool stuff that we've got to do for our real fans. But again, we got this one guy, and it's not him. I mean, this one guy, but there are plenty of people like him. Like I said, this other company, trust me, they all were like this, or a chunk of them were like this. That's why they didn't last on Saturday AM. That's why some of them got booted out of Saturday AM. This idea that, we're here for you. I don't know how that got started. Maybe it's because I'm African American and I do, culturally, I respect the fact I'm African American. I don't know where it comes from, but I've never thought that from any company whatsoever. I thought that they produce a service or a good, and if I buy it, I have to respect what they're producing, and they have an obligation to respect the fact I spent money for it. But beyond that, Apple doesn't have a responsibility to me to behave a certain way. I've never thought that. I would like your companies to behave a certain way, certainly, but I never thought that they had to. But the part that gets me again is when I try to advise this young person of how unfair and ridiculously silly his comment was about us, not because again, at the end of the day, this was not about us. This isn't about whether or not our videos start on time, folks. If that's the case, I'll say this right now to this young man and anyone else who would dare make that argument to us. I was watching San Diego Comic-Con. Anyone here watch San Diego Comic-Con footage? Because I didn't go to it. I guess you guys didn't go to it either. How many times did you tune in to IGN or some of these other sites that might have an interview? They may have an interview with this person or that person, the cast from Aquaman or the cast from Archie or what have you. How many times did you tune in for that? And guess what? It didn't start on time. Starting in 10 minutes. It didn't start in 10 minutes. Why? Because, these folks are busy. They've got people that maybe sign an autograph. Maybe it's taking them a while. I've been to San Diego Comic-Con, so I know, and I've been on panels at San Diego Comic-Con, so I know how much traffic it is and how difficult it is to get from one area to the next area. So maybe that's what they were going through. Maybe they were having a tough time getting from one location to the next to get to IGN. IGN, far bigger company than we are, obviously. But I don't recall saying a ton of messages saying, man, IGN sucks because they don't start on time. When we announce that we're doing an episode of Pitch Session or anything else, folks, understand we announce it hoping you'll join us because we want to read your comments. We want to address any questions that you might have. We want to feel the excitement of people viewing what we're talking about live. But it's not an obligation. And more to the point, you all are 20 years younger than me. 20 years younger than me. Even this young man who I'm talking about is like 15 years younger than me. 20 years younger than me on average. What does that mean? That means that you never grew up in a world where you had to catch TV when it came on. Don't act like that. Who are you fooling? You grew up in a world where TV came on the minute you said, I want to watch this episode of so-and-so. And then you said, hey, play it. And it streamed it to you. You don't know what it's like to try to tune in and watch something live. So the fact that we, have live shows, the fact that we are a small company, the fact that we, had using Google Hangouts, we had a little bit of difficulty getting Morgan on the chat and so forth. If we start 2, 3, 5, 10 minutes late, you're going to castigate us for that? I damn well better find every note that you ever posted to IGN, to Screen Junkies, to Collider. Where are your notes at to them? Because I know damn well that they started late on occasion, but I don't see that. Why? Because again, the expectation, and this is the part I'm getting at, is the getting real part. We are not those companies. We do not have that money. We do not have that investment. We do not have those facilities. So is that something, that we necessarily have to, should we feel bad about that? No, hell no. Because even without all of those things, we still got fans. We've got fans around the world. We still get artists coming to us of true mega caliber. We still have one of the baddest ass artists online in white manga. And then many other artists like him after that. Jay Oden, Andrea Voros, Morgan Walker, Tony Dawkins, Anthony Jackson, Jamie Molina, Raymond Brown, our new artist for Clock Striker, Oscar Foam, so on and so forth. We have nothing to feel bad about. We would love to get more press, and I hope that maybe somebody from IGN is watching the video and goes, man, that's an angry black man. Let's profile him. I'd love that. But the fact of the matter is that at the end of the day, folks, is that, look, we do Summer of Manga because we love diversity. We want to see people come in here and get a chance. That's what we care about. That's what we care about. So all I'm asking is that for folks to, when you are reacting to something that we do and you feel the need to try to castigate us and attack us, I'm asking you to take a moment, take a breath, have a cup of coffee, maybe get some tea. If you're a Sprite drinker like me, have some Sprite. I find Sprite fizzy. I find Sprite very fizzy. It's very good. Take a deep breath and relax, because it's not that serious. We've cost you nothing. And chances are, if you work with us, you will have made us nothing. We do this because to see a voice that is of color, that is someone who is disabled, that is someone who maybe comes from a different religious faith that rarely gets opportunities granted to them to share their own ideas for cool comics and costumes and fantasies and so forth. More gender voices, more sexual orientation voices, that we care is the only thing that should matter. That we make an effort to give those people voices should be the only thing that matters. And in time, we'll only get better. In time, our videos will get better. In time, our facilities will get better. In time, we will have more investment so we can do more crazy things and give away more prizes and try to empower and inspire you guys in more direct ways. In time. But as of right now, we get a note from someone who just basically is whining because we didn't treat them as if they were the most important things in sliced bread, and you're not a customer, you're not a fan, you're not truly on what we're doing, then folks, on behalf of every company that's too afraid to say it, get a life. All right, that's completely inappropriate. That's completely unfair, and that's just not at all reality. Get real. That being said, that's my special message. Now we can get on with the business at hand. Morgan, you still there? Did I lose you, Morgan?
Nope, I'm here.
All right. So with that being said, then let's get to where we are. All right. So folks, if you've never been a part of Pitch Session, this is Pitch Session. Yeah. I do have a little moment where I try to get real with people and so forth. And again, like I said, I'm well aware that some people like it, some people don't. That's okay. But at the end of the day, say again, I've got a history, several year history. People know that we care about them. And this is what this is all about, is trying to make sure that the stuff that we are experiencing and learning, we can pass on to you. So Pitch Session, rule number 1, when you're pitching your comic, keep it simple. 4 to 6 words. This meets that. Morgan, what is my pitch that I always use in these examples?
Batman meets Naruto? Is that what it was?
No, it's not. And I know that John Mendoza and Bukan Manga, I know they're going to be like, oh, Morgan, you let us down.
I could have sworn that was it.
It's Yu-Gi-Oh! Meets Batman.
Yu-Gi-Oh!
Yeah, Yu-Gi-Oh!
Oh, maybe it was. I'm sorry.
So,
that's the beauty of the pitch. It could be anything.
That's true. It can. Exactly. And so that's the point, folks, is that your pitch should be a concise sort of message about this meets that. Why is that a successful pitch? Because at the end of the day, folks, the entire concept of pitch, what that means is that you have a very limited time to sell someone, an executive, a producer, a casting agent, an investor. You have a very limited time to sell them on what it is that you want them to support, right? Because otherwise, think about this, folks. Think about the concept of pitch. Why would you pitch something if you don't need anyone to help you, right? If you don't need an artist, then you're not going to pitch an artist. If you don't need someone to pay for you to make the comic, then you're not going to pitch it to them. If you don't need someone to publish it or market it, if you've got your own resources to do that, then you don't need to pitch it to them. The only thing you have to pitch it to ultimately is going to be the fans. And that's a different conversation when it comes to pitching. But the idea here for Pitch Session is keep it simple. You've got a limited time to convince them. So keep it simple. If you had to distill your idea down to 2 basic concepts, then make it Transformers meets zombies or something like that. Just keep it simple. Keep it simple. And I promise you, you'll have more success with that. Rule number 2. Make or have an online portfolio. Folks, have an online portfolio. What does that mean? It means Instagram, Facebook fan page, Tumblr, or your own site. Instagram, Facebook fan page, Tumblr, or your own site. There's probably other examples here, but that's what I can come up with. So come up with it. Have it. Why does this matter? Because if you can convince someone that they're interested in your idea, then the next thing you're going to do is say, and this can be anything, folks. Remember, this is not just comics. So again, we have some fans. I got a note the other day from someone who is a cosplay enthusiast, and they were like, your video really helped me. Great, because this works for everybody. If you meet someone who you need their help to help you get to the next level, when you pitch them, have an online portfolio. Because no matter what they think of meeting you, whether it's directly or via email and so forth, no matter what you say to them, no matter how great it sounds, no matter how simple you make it and it's appealing to them, the next thing they're going to say is, okay, well, show me something. That's going to be the next conversation. Show me something. Morgan, if I came up to you and said, hey, Morgan, I know you're looking for cats. I got a great cat for you. Are you going to say, okay, great. What's it look like? Can I see it?
Absolutely.
Or are you going to say, no, just drop it off?
It may not even be a cat. You need to be sure that it's a cat.
Exactly. That's correct. That's correct. Because Morgan has been prone to having people say, I got a cat for you, and they drop off an elephant. So please be careful with it. Every time. That's happened to her 3 times that I know of. The last time, of course, the elephant.
It's really embarrassing to return it.
Exactly. Especially in Indiana. Yeah, so have it on the portfolio. No one's suggesting it has to be a super gorgeous, cool graphics in terms of the way it's laid out and so forth. No one's suggesting that. All they want to see is what it is you're trying to get people to check out. So if you're a cosplayer, have a couple of pictures of you in your cosplay outfits. Or if you make cosplay outfits, have a couple of pictures of people wearing your cosplay outfits. Don't just tell somebody you make cosplay outfits. Have pictures of it and then put it in a place where they can find it. Put it in a place where they can find it, in particular, because what you don't want to have is for someone to try to say that they're doing what you do, or for there to be the presumption that you are not telling the truth. That can kill someone's opportunities faster than you can say, "Hi, my name is." Always be willing to and have the wherewithal to be able to show what it is you've produced. Let's see. Next up, we have rule number 3, and that is really simple. Submit your best. As I said before, 35% of the entries we got were flawed in some way. And where did that come from? I'm confident that a chunk of those, I can't break it down, obviously, in percentages. I don't have enough data for that. But what I can say is that without question, these are people that hurried. They saw that we were looking for new creators. They saw that we were going to publish new creators. They said, oh, crap, this is my chance. And they just threw out something really quickly. They didn't stop. They didn't read it. They didn't edit it. They didn't double check it. They didn't get a friend to look at it. They just garbled something together real quickly and submitted it in. And because of that, the vast majority of companies, Marvel, DC, Image, if you're applying for a job for a big corporation, Google, YouTube, GlaxoSmithKline, whatever, they're going to look at that and go, oh, this word's misspelled, and I can't understand what this thing is here. I thought they meant to put this here, and oh, this is a mess. And they're just going to say, no, thank you, and move on. Submit your best. If you're an artist, then folks, that means submit your best. No one wants to look at your stuff from 10 years ago. Submit your most recent stuff. No one wants to look at you drawing the same head of a character over and over and over again. Man, you really got good drawing Goku's head. Boy, you are dynamite drawing Batman. I've never seen so many cool Batmans in my life. Can you draw anything else? Do you draw backgrounds? Do you draw sequential pages? Submit your best. Last but not least, be diverse. Now, if you guys have heard me talk earlier, then you know that clearly I'm very liberal. That's my whole point of starting this company, is to bring more voices into the mix. That doesn't mean you have to be liberal. We have many people in our company who are politically conservative, and we are, and I'm really good friends with some of them. So that's not the issue. Diversity in this case, though, is that, folks, as I've said before, I don't care if you look at it from a business standpoint. If you're just troping the same thing over and over and over, if your work looks identical to what's happening in Japan, spiky-haired, you know, ethno-generic characters, then you're not going to get far. That ship has sailed. That's the whole point with the webcomic movement and globalization. Now we know, we got white manga from Nigeria. We know that artists from all places around the world can draw as good as Japanese artists. We already know that. That's not something that needs to be proven. We know they can create characters who look like the Japanese characters. Already proven, nothing new needs to happen there. But if you've got the next great story and you've never been to Japan and you don't know crap about anything happening in Japan, you don't know really much about Asian culture, but you know a lot about your culture, whether it's Latino or Arabic or you know, or Middle Eastern or Finnish or Icelandic, Gaelic, what have you. If you've got that background and you're refusing to offer new insights to that, then that's a challenge. Now, it doesn't mean that you have to, you know, that you can't create characters who aren't like you, but it means that, you know, you have to have some purpose for doing it. We have a really interesting guest here because Morgan, I know, is not a black man. Yet her comic is about a black man. It's about a black man in a setting that evokes a very cool cultural moment in American history, which was the 70s and blaxploitation and kind of soul music and stuff like that. So she's got a really cool set of artistic things that she's doing with it. So, you know, she's stretching, trying new ideas for Soul Beat. And she's having to do some research to do it. But the difference is that this is something that you don't normally see. That's what makes it fascinating. We see plenty of spiky-haired, ethno-generic characters in Japanese manga and anime. There's nothing really that you're going to bring to the table at this point that's going to break the mold. Not saying it can't, obviously, but you're saying you want to get published, you want to stand out, then be diverse. Make the character be something different. Make the character be European. Make the character be, you know, someone of African descent. Make the character be someone of Latino descent. Make the story happen instead of Tokyo, a place that you may have never have been. Maybe it happens in your neck of the woods. One of my favorite manga, Monster by Urakawa. That manga is about a Japanese man that takes place in a foreign country, in Germany, I think. So, or Austria, Germany or Austria. So, you know, it can be done. But you got to be diverse because diversity is what drives new thinking. It's what drives new ideas. It's what drives new excitement. When you're just trying to do the same thing that everybody does, I promise you, unless you are just exceptionally talented artistically, you're going to have a tough time. So be diverse. And that also means artistically. If you're just drawing the same thing over and over again, if all you're doing is fan art, you're like, no, but I've got my own comic idea. Well, how will I know that when all you've ever drawn is Dragon Ball? How will I ever know that you are a serious creator capable of doing really cool new ideas if all you ever draw is Dragon Ball? How will I know? So those are our 4 rules for pitch session. Do you have anything to add to that, Morgan? Anything you want to toss out there?
I think the only thing I'd like to add, there's a little bit of echo. So the only thing I would like to add is maybe to rule 3. I know part of the problem with people submitting their best is that they're rushing themselves to turn something in. We have our deadlines posted, not just when we're getting summer manga started, but we've had this posted. I mean, we've been doing this for 3 years. Yeah. Mm-hmm. So, I mean, you know about it well in advance. And if you know that you're not
subscribe, that's the thing. If you subscribe, they don't subscribe, they don't know. Right.
Yeah. Well, then if you don't know and you feel like, well, I didn't have enough time to produce it, well, then there's something in taking some time by not submitting and taking that extra year to prepare yourself for the next round. There's no shame in not rushing yourself to try to get into this. Like I said, I took 6 years where I didn't even really draw anything for any manga related content. And I think that made me a stronger and more prepared artist for when I was available to work on this project and to build those skills. So we would like to see your best. And if that means taking another year to prepare yourself, I think that's fine. You know, rather than rushing yourself or making excuses that you didn't have enough time because you couldn't meet a certain deadline.
I totally agree with that, and I don't think I'll add to that because that's beautiful what you said. It's dead on. Is that, folks, you're not in any hurry. life is not a hurry. You know, the things that you will discover, again, I'm a 44-year-old man. The things you will discover in life every single day, every single year will only make you better. It only makes you makes your thinking able to process more complicated ideas. It allows you to have new insights. It allows you to bring in new experiences to the mix. I have a story that I'm still wanting to do called Forgotten that I first developed in college. I actually had an agent in Hollywood. It was such a strong idea. I won't reveal it now. It was such a strong idea. I had an agent in Hollywood when I was in the video game industry. We had a video game demo done. It was profiled in Wizard magazine. If you guys remember Wizard magazine back in the day. I mean, this idea is, you know, it's mine. I've got the rights. It's fantastic. And yet now I'm working on it currently for something in the future. And it is entirely different than what it was. It is so different than what it was. Because I've grown. 20 years has passed and I've grown. I've changed. My insights have developed. My experiences have been different. My role as someone who's just a young guy to being someone who, you know, is, you know, has young people in his life and so on and so forth, it's changed. And so, again, there is nothing wrong. Life is funny how it works. You're not in any hurry. You know, now, you know, I'm sure we'll have someone say, no, really, I am in a hurry because I have to go back to Planet Xenon in 2 weeks. So I got to get this done now. But beyond the guy's got to go to Planet Xenon, you're not in any hurry. If you miss it this year, wait till next year. But as I said, take that opportunity then to subscribe to Saturday AM, because I will continue to say, I do not understand why you want us to publish you if you have never read our magazine. Just doesn't add up to me. But okay, so Morgan, anything else you want to add?
No, I think we're good.
All right. So folks, let's talk about, now this is the cover for issue number 90. Ads have already gone out for it, so it's not going to matter. But this is issue 90, and this is what we're going to be talking about today in part. Now, if you've never seen Pitch Session, what we do after all that stuff we've done to date, what we do is we break down the experiences that we had with two of the entries from Summer of Manga that we published, and we give you a full review of these works. And the two works in this particular issue was Essence by Chang, I think it's Chang Zhong. I'm not sure if I'm pronouncing it correctly. He's got a more complicated name than that. And then a young woman named Sama who did Tender Loving Punch. You can still get this issue, so if you haven't experienced this issue yet, obviously, we'd love for you to subscribe. If you want to pay 99 cents, you can get the issue, and that's cool as well. But you can do it right on our website, www.saturday-am.com/subscribe, and you'll find the issue right there. You can get it, or you can subscribe. Andrea, sorry.
Wow.
Morgan, I know. You can get back at me by calling me Raymond. Okay, you've read the issue.
Yes.
All right. So which one do you want to start with? Which
I mean, we can start with the first one. We can start with Tender Loving Punch by Sama.
Okay. Tender Loving Punch. So give me a moment. Let me pull up Tender Loving Punch here. And do you have the page up and ready so we can read the synopsis and all that cool stuff?
I do.
All right. So folks, this is our first title that we had inside of this issue. It is called Tender Loving Punch. It's from a young woman out of Saudi Arabia. So I'm so pleased that we were able to work with her. I'm really ecstatic about that, and the fact as well that she is super talented, as you can see. I thought her pitch was fantastic, and so Morgan's going to tell you a little bit about the concept, and then we're going to discuss the comic. So you ready, Morgan?
Right. So I'm just going to read what was published.
Yeah, just
okay.
Just read the stuff on the chapter cover.
Okay, cool. So under her synopsis, her pitch was Street Fighter meets Kill la Kill, and the story was Aya has been blaming herself for what her childhood friend / crush Pando has become. At first a nice kind-hearted boy, Pando has transformed into a thug who both bullies and steals from others. Aya feels responsible and must once again become closer to him to bring out his more gentle personality. Will it work?
And so obviously that was the initial set. I will say that as a pitch, I wasn't bowled over by it. I loved it. I'm gonna tell you what attracted me. The name, the name immediately caught me, and that's another whole other thing we can talk about at some point in a future episode. But a good name goes a long way. It's almost like having a good piece of artwork. A good name goes a long way, because part of the thing that we look at as publisher is we want to publish hits. And one of the ways to have a hit is that if you've got something that's got decent art and it's got a really cool concept or a decent concept, but it's got a name that people remember, well, that goes a long way. I mean, Clock Striker is a name you remember. Apple Black is a name you remember. And so, when these things come up, Mastery Multiplayer World of Ghosts is a long, complicated name, but you will remember it if you hear it. So it's one of those kind of funny things. And Tender Loving Punches, I was like, oh man, this is such a cool name for a manga. It's got that right sort of odd collection of ideas that makes it sound kind of like a Japanese title. At the same time, it's got a good play on a popular phrase that we would normally use. So I'm going to run through some of the images that were here. And Morgan, tell us what you thought of this series.
Right. So I agree. I thought that the title was really enticing and like made me really want to read this. I mean, the story, I wouldn't say that it was the most, I mean, it sounds like a story maybe I've heard before, but what I did like about the synopsis was that it was short and sweet, and it really sounds like a good one shot. Like it's not those really long synopsises that we've kind of seen before. I was kind of excited to see what she was going to do in the 20 or so pages that she had to kind of tell this short story. And I think overall, I love the artwork. I think that that's something that obviously really stands out. It looks so professional. And then story-wise, as I was reading it, I'm a big fan of humor, and I think that a lot of the sort of jokes that happen between panels and between some of these characters were really spot on and kind of helped add to this somewhat absurd, somewhat quirky story. So, I mean, I was pretty much impressed the whole way through with Tender Loving Punch.
I would agree completely. So look, there's no way around it. The artwork makes this, right. So this is one of those scenarios where I agree with you, Morgan. I probably liked the story a little bit more than you did. I thought it was really well set up. And yes, I agree. I thought the comedy was great. But I mean, the artwork just elevates this, right. This could have been really basic, right. And the artwork though really elevated it because it's so sophisticated. And I can tell you. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
I was just going to say, like, there's rarely a panel except for where she's setting up a joke that doesn't have a lot of detail. Like every panel, whether it's in the tone or it's the detail in some of the like the hair features or the clothing, or it's really well done. I mean, and it's done all the way through. There's not a page, maybe except the last one where it seemed like some of the tones were missing, but that quality was carried through on every page. Like this was a project that Sama had done. She had done well, like she'd taken her time, but then made sure everything was really clean. It seems like.
Yeah, well, so I guess what I was going to say is that I won't give details about each of these people. Just like a little bit later, one of the later segments we do is kind of like a quick run through of pitches. We don't reveal the name of the creator. So Sama has, I will say, she has a more significant art background than the average person who contacts us. So I think that does lend itself to, like you said, just the level of professionalism inherent in her artwork from jump. That's not to say that, because she is young, I can say that too. But she does have a level of focus that the average artist that tries to make a go on online does not. This is one of my favorite pages. I love the fact this is a flashback, and like you said, just the toning work. The toning work on this page is just brilliant. Just brilliant. Like you didn't have to know if you first see this page that it's a flashback. It's obvious. It's like she just nails that experience.
Yeah, even without the text, the narrative that's happening with characters and that tone again, or like go from day to night. It's very effective.
And I'm glad you said that. I'm glad you said that first part, because you're right. And this is a thing that I think so many of our artists don't quite get, and so many people, some manga don't get, is that like this is. I mean, so look, levels of the art scale of stuff that we get approached by Saturday AM. We get people who are, we get people who are up there. I mean, they are true superstars in one way or another. And so we find someone like Sama, who is new, even though she's skilled as an artist. Yeah, it's really extraordinary because I mean, look, for those of you guys watching this is real art, right? Like what Morgan just said. What's happening on this page without one piece of text whatsoever. And that is a level of talent and expertise that is way difficult to find, extremely difficult to find. So yeah, I really enjoyed it. So yes, I mean, she had more pages than the average person. We granted her more pages. I was a tad disappointed that more was not made of their backgrounds and the sort of aspects about the fact that they've got obviously these kind of martial arts abilities. I wish there had been more made of that and a bit more mythology laid down. I'm not suggesting. I think you kind of hit the nail on the head, Morgan, about the fact that that this reads a short story, and that's what we want. At the same time, it's like it teased me a little bit, right? Like, I mean, I would love to be teased by the idea that there is more here, that this could be a series, because I genuinely am excited by what I'm seeing. Like, I genuinely found the characters interesting, not dynamically interesting, but interesting. They immediately have interesting character designs, particularly the main girl. We're going to talk about her in a minute, but Aya. But again, you and I talked about this earlier. I'm thinking to myself as I see this, I've seen series like this, but then the more I dig into it, I haven't seen anyone who looks like Aya. They look kind of like Aya, but again, credit to Sama. She literally gave this girl, unless there's a manga, this has happened before, where they're, obviously, we're busy, so we don't read every single, right, we don't read every single manga known to man, so it's possible that I'm not saying Sama did, obviously, but it's possible. It's happened before where someone ripped off a concept from a no-name manga in Japan, and we didn't know until someone who does follow this goes, oh, no, that's based on so-and-so. But this really does stand out. I mean, just even the wrap around her arms, around the lower part of her arm into her gauntlet, the fact that she's got that kind of wrap around her right arm. I've never seen a female character who is wearing the kind of schoolgirl, sexy schoolgirl uniform, knee-high leggings, have that look. So again, there's a lot of little things here that I really, really enjoyed. But yes, I wish there had been more of an effort to let us peek into this world. Also, there were not as many backgrounds. That said, again, you can see this on all the pages I'm showing. Never does that bother Sama, because she's able to deliver such unique poses and camera angles every single page. Every single page is a character in a unique pose. It's not the same like static shot. We're going to talk about this, I think, in the next comic, where sometimes, you can see like this, it's the same pose every single time. This one, every character is fluid. Every action is fluid. So I think she makes up for the fact that she doesn't, at least that I could tell, doesn't seem to have a great deal of, experience with backgrounds, or at least she doesn't, represent them much, although she can in that very first image that we saw that was the flashback. Any other thoughts on this?
Right. So, keeping on the background conversation, I agree. I wish that I'd seen more background in the panels that were more detailed and kind of showing the actual space. I know that she has this. It's maybe part of her style, or just her technique is using that kind of hatch pattern in the background, which I like a lot. But typically that's used for like an effect if there's like a feeling or emotion being conveyed. But it seemed like she was just using that in almost every panel. I mean, it still looks nice. It seemed like it would have been nice to see more of the actual setting that they were in. As far as the story, like I said, I really liked it. It sounded like a good short story. I was maybe a little disappointed in the ending, because what she had set up didn't seem like it got resolved. But then again, it was kind of an absurd ending for an absurd sort of premise that was really fun. For me, while I loved the character designs, some of the characters I didn't feel like they really were purposeful in the story. Like her fellow gang members, it seemed a bit crowded. Like if it had focused on maybe a few less characters, we might have been able to get more background or more. It almost seemed like I wasn't standing out as much toward the end of the story. It was kind of like the focus shifted on other characters.
I think that's fair. Yeah, I think that's fair. Yeah, I think that's fair. I think that again, so you know, we were talking, and what you guys see on screen right now is Real About High School. We were talking, Morgan and I, about okay, well, what are the, you know, like what does this remind us of? Real About High School, you know, to a large degree, has a lot of similar aspects. Art style obviously is very different, but you can see the main character, the girl's kind of got this, you know, pseudo, you know, ninja schoolgirl outfit. You know, the artwork here is very dynamic, but I must say I do prefer Sama quite a bit versus some of the kind of look of this title. But you know, and if it were to continue as a series, perhaps it would go this route. I don't know, because I've never read this, so I don't know what the series is like. What it reminds me of in reading it, and that's why they didn't bother me, is I got a real strong vibe from. Have you ever seen Ranma Half? Have you ever heard of that?
Yes, I'm familiar with it. Unfortunately, I never read it.
So Rumiko Takahashi, for all of you guys watching this, amazing woman. She was just honored at San Diego Comic-Con. She is one of the all-time great mangaka in Japanese history, as well as globally. I mean, she's created Ranma Half. She created Urusei Yatsura, Mason Ikoku. These are all titles that come from my generation of manga fandom. But obviously, you guys have probably heard of her because she created Inuyasha. She has basically created some of the biggest hits ever in Japanese manga. And she is just a superstar. She's an absolute superstar. Ranma Half was a series about, this is not what's on screen right now, but I didn't have time to get a clip of it. But Ranma Half is basically, it's a story about a guy who's a martial artist. He follows a special pull and it turns him into a girl. And so basically it's kind of like the Hulk, you know, whenever certain situations happen, he turns into a girl. And so there's a girl that likes him as Ranma. And then when he's this other version that's a female, there are these guys who are kind of into her. Both of them can kick ass because he's a kick-ass martial artist. So he gets into all these kind of things. So again, it's really interesting. So it gave me that vibe. Inuyasha's art style, Rumiko Takahashi's art style is very different. So because of that, we end up with a look that I think Sama is obviously more sophisticated artistically than Rumiko Takahashi's efforts are, or at least what people would think. And so therefore, I think the artwork looks a little different. Another character that's reminded me of, the art style reminded me of, at least the design, is Mai Shiranui. You've seen her from Fatal Fury, King of Fighters. So so really, so again, you know, that sort of style of the kind of Japanese female with the, you know, high skirt or high thigh, and she's got the, you know, big chest and got the, you know, ponytail is kind of a Japanese trope. Again, none of these things bothered me. I thought they were interesting, and I probably, you know, look, at the end of the day, I mean, yeah, would I love to have seen someone from Saudi Arabia deliver a Saudi Arabian or a character who's Arabic in a unique setting like that? Sure, I would have definitely loved to have seen that. But this was really, really strong stuff, and so I really enjoyed it. Yeah, I just saw someone post Tenjo Tingi. Yeah, it reminds you of that as well. So yeah, so would you want to see more of Tender Loving Punch, more of Sama? What's your thoughts ultimately?
I mean, I would definitely love to see more of Sama. As far as Tender Loving Punch, I think this could be a fun series to continue. I'm not sure what maybe the whole premise would be. You know, this premise that she pitched to us makes for a very good one shot. As for a full series, I don't know, but I definitely love the characters. I like the character designs, and what she was doing, and how she's a very strong creator. So at least Sama, I think, you know, would love to see more from her in general.
Agreed. I totally agreed. Everything you just said. I'm obviously incredibly excited about this young woman and her talent level. I would love to see more Tender Loving. First of all, as I said before, again, I'm a publisher, I'm a marketing guy. I love that name. I would love to see more Tender Loving Punch. You know, this has happened before. You know, this is not new. People, you know, that's why we have Summer of Manga set the way it is. We don't want you pitching us an 18-volume epic. Give us a short story with the beginning, middle, and end. Let us see that you actually know how to tell a story and carry that sort of thematic element or that sort of atmosphere from page 1 to page, you know, 10, 15, 20. She's done that. So therefore, like I said, I would love to have seen her hint have more story ideas. And I can only imagine more story. You know, again, this did what it's supposed to do, which it made me, you know, kind of get excited about the potential of what happens, like where do they go to school, and what happens here, and where does this particular person come from, and what real powers do they have. Like, I got really excited about all those questions, and so yeah, I would love to see more from both Sama and Tender Loving Punch. So maybe we will. We'll find out later about that. So that is Tender Loving Punch. All right, so the second title we had in issue number 90. Which again, you can get on our website at www.saturday-am.com/subscribe, is called Essence. And what is it's Vang Chang Zhong. So Vang Chang Zhong is the artist of Essence. And this was an interesting series as well, interesting short. What can you tell us from his cover chapter page?
All right, the synopsis. The pitch was Bleach meets Brothers Grimm, and the synopsis was, in the future, medicine has become too expensive, resulting in people seeking help from an unlikely source, a shaman, a person who travels between the physical and spiritual world in order to heal people.
So, so this one was something that did what kind of, frankly, was just kind of like I said about Salma's pitch. I wasn't bowled over by it, although I you know, there was enough there for me to be, you know, somewhat intrigued. I definitely didn't care about Brothers Grimm. That movie was relatively stupid.
I don't know if it was the movie or if it was like the general like Brothers Grimm. I guess Brothers Grimm being the hunters, so that would be the movie.
Well, I mean, yeah, that's a good point. That's a good point. Yeah, he doesn't say. That's a good point. He didn't say.
I don't know if they were just storytellers or if they were actually like rumored to be hunters or something. I don't know, but
right. Well, the movie was, you know, the movies had the idea that they were basically excising demons, but they would go town to town, kind of claiming they were going to excise demons, right? So they never really. None of that ever came out quite the way, you know, like they were kind of looked at as being somewhat jokesters. And I didn't get the sense of that from this. Again, I don't quite know what he's getting at there. I will say that he changed the name. The original name of this was something different. It was really cheesy. This one doesn't strike me. I don't think this is any cooler.
You know, but even with the S being highlighted there, I kept spelling it Essence with a C, and then I looked at it again and thought, oh, sense, I get it.
Yeah, well, it didn't. It did nothing for me. I remember when he changed the name. I was like, oh, okay, now he's changed the name. It didn't do anything for me. That being said, you know, Chang has been associated with us for some time. He has participated in a couple of March Madness. There's talent level here for sure. When I saw this, I saw a lot of things that were greatly enhanced in his abilities. He's grown dramatically in several ways. Some of the things that we saw that you know were problem issues are still problem issues. But still, there was a lot of stuff here that I enjoyed. Why don't you tell us about the story and what you thought of the story, and we will show the people some of the art.
I mean, I thought it was fascinating. I mean, I can see some of the a little bit of the influences that he mentioned, or in his pitch, like it's particularly Bleach, I think. But I guess, and it's not just because he's a shaman, but it was interesting that he didn't list Shaman King as being a potential, especially with his synopsis being that it's like this technological future world. So then, you know, but there's this role of mysticism and spiritualism. But at the same time, I was a bit disappointed that that wasn't further explored in this story. For me, the way that this story, it didn't go beyond a superficial level in terms of. It was
very superficial. Yeah, extremely superficial. This was a fight scene. That's what it was.
Yeah, it didn't describe to us, you know, why it was important that Lee is a shaman. It didn't really describe some of the tools that he uses or what the challenges were in this particular setting, why it matters that it's in the future. Like none of that really, well, none of it came to be in this particular short story. So I was a bit disappointed with that. I think too, and this was kind of interesting. So like in the last one, we said that there were, or I said that there were maybe too many characters and it felt very crowded. The role of some of the characters in this story particularly his friend. I think it's Gao is how it's pronounced.
Yeah, Gal. Yeah.
Yeah. I didn't know if she needed to be further developed or left out entirely, because the way that it's set up is we got this backstory, but then she had no further role in the rest of the story. So it was,
Exactly.
I wasn't really sure, and that's, I think, a lesson to be learned for any one shot is, don't have too many characters, but if you are going to introduce them, make them make them needed in the story. Like, otherwise, if they're not there, that you're taking up time trying to explain that character.
Yeah, I think that's fair. I think that's fair. I think there's a couple of things there that are worth. There's a couple of things that are worth talking about. I think, first of all, I think if you look at what he was doing, first of all, look at this page. This is, continues from the first page. First page, had a really nice setup. We get a background shot and so forth. But I want you to pay attention, everybody, to that top panel on the left with the main character's look. He's got a very cool look. First of all, very cool look. I did like his design quite a bit. Very cool look. I don't know if that hairstyle's been done before in manga, but very, very cool look. But now look at that. And then we go to the next page. And damn it, I swear to God, that's the same damn pose and look for that character in the second panel in the middle. And almost every time you see this character, he looks exactly like that. It's the same shot, same kind of like, chest up shot, same head look. He doesn't express any emotions, which I get that. Maybe he seems to be kind of a stoic, kind of cool character. But there's nothing dynamic artistically going on here. There's growth in what Chang is doing for sure. There's one page in particular I really enjoy quite a bit. But yeah, I think, to your point, I think, look, the story is very basic. And to me, this shows a lot of growth. And so I was really proud of Chang for the work he did here. But this shows, but this also shows what we get quite a bit, which is basically the fanboy thing. Look, he's clearly a fan of Bleach. He's clearly a fan of the kind of, manga aspect of, demon hunters and, groups that kind of go and, have to deal with these kind of demons that come out of nowhere and so forth. He's a fan of it. He wants this to be, to come across as more in depth or to have more depth than probably just a normal kind of fan fiction. To your point, there are characters introduced that just have nothing really to do with the story. And at the very least, they certainly don't. As we said about Tender Loving Punch, I would have loved to have seen her hint at more stuff. Here, we get hints of things that weren't interesting to begin with and don't serve the story at all. And so that's kind of one of the challenges here. This next page I'm going to show you, that last panel is dope. That's the most interesting thing he does, in my opinion, in these entire 15 pages. That last panel where we see the main character kind of hitting the ground. He's hitting the ground from a certain angle. It's like a kind of not quite ant's eye view back. So it's behind, the camera's behind him. He's just landed. So his body's kind of, bent the right way to kind of, capture the brunt force. His hands are kind of touching the ground and kind of like, across the ground and stuff, the slowest pace. Like that's pretty badass. That's a pretty dope panel. And again, it's the most dynamic panel he has, because otherwise everything is presented straight on. Camera angle straight on. The shots of the characters are basically from the chest up, especially this guy. There's a couple of pages, a couple of panels that obviously are different, but for the most part, they're that. And so, look, this is an action sequence pretty much from page like 3 or 4 to the end, and there's nothing wrong with that. But again, I think the idea here, what we want to see, is that you can tell a story. And off the base of this, I don't feel like Chang can tell a story. I feel like Chang's got ideas, but I don't feel like Chang can tell a story. So from that aspect, I think that there's some really cool stuff here in terms of what he tried to do, but it's just not ambitious enough, in my opinion. And it just reads too much like kind of fan fiction, I think. But again, I think that artistically, knowing where he's been, I think he's grown quite a bit. What are your thoughts ultimately on this?
No, I agree. I mean, artistically, I think there's still some areas that need to be improved.
No question.
I mean, there's panels like the one that you pointed out. I mean, some of his backgrounds, even that first page with some of the backgrounds that he did. Some of them are a bit stiff, but it's still pretty impressive the detail that he put into it. So I think still over time that the art will improve, and we'll see some more engaging work. Perhaps he's still trying to kind of flex those muscles a little bit to try to see what his skill level is. But story-wise, I agree. I think it felt like he had different ideas for what he wanted to do. Like, he's got this kind of thing. I don't know if it reminded me of The Hateful Eight. I don't know if you've watched that movie where they do this flashback to sort of explain everything that happened prior to the moments that are in the present. And he did that at the beginning of this chapter. And I can't decide if it was really effective or or necessary.
Right.
And then the ending, there's like this additional twist, and in terms of the content matter that he was or the subject matter, I'm not sure it really fit with the shonen story, but I understand what he was trying to do. But I think overall, some of these different plot points, the spirit that's trying to take, the prince that's trying to take this other spirit, and it's just like he had these ideas, but they weren't all fleshed out, and they were it was too many ideas, and
Well, I think, look, in a nutshell, I think the challenge here is that I think that again, and let me say this right now. I want to give a real shout out to Chang because he's grown. Like I said, people watching this won't know unless they knew him. We knew because he's been a part of Saturday for some time, not a part of us officially, but he's participated in a lot of events that we've done. And so artistically, this is light years from where he was. That's number one. So hats off to him for that. And obviously, the thing about Summer of Manga is that, yes, we're not particularly giving a lot of love to this particular short story, but this is, most creators who participate in Summer who send us a pitch won't even get to this level. So this is a tremendous, this should be a tremendous celebration for Chang that he got to this level. He got this kind of bug off of his shoulders of saying, I'm going to create a short story and have it published. He did that. Not a great short story, but he's showing the limitations of his current abilities. He's also showing that he's been able to really advance artistically, and hats off to him for that, and hats off to anyone who accomplishes that. I think what we're talking about, however, the most critical elements here of him does very much come down to, yes, his artwork still is stiff. It still lacks just a convincing sense of purpose in terms of how the artwork should be. Like, there's no real style here. It just feels very flat and very basic. And like you said, even look, in this page right here, look, hats off to this page, because most people who submit comics to us don't even do this. This is stiff as hell, but it's there. He did it, and it's certainly background, and it looked pretty good. So, the problem is that last panel, though, just is like, damn, like, where are the people? Right? Like, this is going nothing. So it's just, there's all this stuff's happening. There's just nothing's happening on the on the ground. That being said, I think that what you and I are talking about more than anything is that there's just not any story here, and I think ultimately that's the problem. Is that the real limitation that Chang's looking at now is that while he's grown artistically, he's still got a ways to go. And then while he's got an idea for a story based off of kind of a fanboy appreciation of Bleach, he's not quite gotten to that next level of being a storyteller. Again, I come back to Tender Loving Punch. Not great, but certainly not bad. Far better than this, not just because of the art, because there's a consistent theme, a consistent atmosphere, a consistent kind of emotional aspect to the characters and the story. Even though it's silly, it's all consistent. It's consistent throughout, and so it ends in the way that it kind of started. And for that, I think it's really, really strong stuff there, without question. This, again, story-wise, it just feels like, hey, I love this. I'm gonna have this. I'm gonna have my guy. He's gonna do some cool stuff, and he's gonna win at the end of the day. And that was it. And it doesn't feel like there's anything substantial here. The story is just not there. Not enough depth. The pacing's kind of bad because there's not much stuff happening. Like you said, in these pages, characters get introduced, nothing really comes of it. So I think, again, he's got a ways to go as a storyteller. Also got a slight ways to go, not dramatic in terms of artistically. Any other thoughts?
No, I think that was a pretty good summation.
So real quickly, what I was thinking of when we saw this was, I was like, there are so many manga. In fact, in Japan, a manga about an exorcist a monk who again, the monks are exorcists and so on and so forth, is like a dime a dozen in Japan. It's like superheroes here in America. I swear, every Shonen magazine has an exorcist manga. Let's not forget, Shonen Jump just has the latest one here called Jujutsu Tyson, I think it's called. You've got, I mean, and then when I pulled it up, there were so many, but I just stopped at the first couple. You've got Black Torch, which came, it got moved to, I think, their website version or their app version called Black Torch, which is literally Bleach, just kind of updated with slightly different artwork, and it's all kind of Fox thing. And then of course what my friend was hinting at here. Of course, then you've got Blue Exorcist, which is the kind of current poster child for Demon series. And are you a fan of Blue Exorcist, Morgan?
I think I've got volume 1. I've not entirely read it. I'm familiar with the premise of it, and I mean, I love the artwork. I mean, yeah, I mean, it's a pretty straightforward concept. I mean,
yeah, I'm just not into. Look. Let's say this right now. Artistically, it's the shit. Artistically, it is off the chain. It is fantastic artistically. The story to me just makes no damn sense. It's just so slow and tedious, and I don't understand the powers, and there's kind of this little weird brother relationship that doesn't seem to me to be nearly as, which happens in manga quite a bit because the characterizations, in my opinion, never are very strong. But it's like this sort of brother thing that just, to me, just has no real depth. But the artwork is amazing, and it's like I can stare at Blue Exorcist all day long. Yeah. I mean, I forced myself through the anime second season just because I love that art style. But yeah, it's not my. I can't say I enjoy reading it much, but I do love the artists behind it. And I've just been advised by a young man named Patrick and Goka that it's actually a cat. All right, so folks, it is 9:38. Now we're going to take this to about 10 or maybe a little after 10. But now, real quickly, what we're going to do is I'm going to take a moment. Morgan, get yourself a cup of water. We don't have long to go. We're going to do a very short segment where we kind of run through a couple of quick pitches, and then we're going to answer your questions, okay? So if you got questions, you can start putting them together. We're going to start answering some questions here in about 10 minutes or so. But Morgan, go get yourself a cup of water. And right now what I'm going to do is I'm going to, while she's doing that, I'm going to talk about Saturday M stuff, because why wouldn't I, right? Why wouldn't I talk about Saturday M stuff? So, folks, if you support Saturday M, then support Saturday M. We have T-shirts you can buy. We've got more T-shirts on the way. We've got some really cool T-shirts, including some brand new T-shirts for women. Now, the great thing about our T-shirts is that obviously they're quality made. We've spent a couple of years getting it right. So we now have quite a few kick-ass T-shirts, and you absolutely can check it out. It's just great. It's just, we've got us adorned with our logos, some of our series logos. We have some original designs coming for some of our shirts. Great stuff. And what I hope that if you guys do decide to check it out, understand that if you get a T-shirt, not only is it going to get quality, but the other cool thing about it, folks, is that you get a subscription. You get a free subscription to Saturday M as a part of the cost of the shirt. So it's a really cool thing, premium subscription at that, which includes Saturday PM. So I highly recommend you guys check it out. We've got some really cool designs coming. We're also going to start offering some of our prints. So you can find those at our shop. Just go to our website, www.saturday-am.com/shop, and you will see links to some of the items we have in our store. Likewise, if you are new to Saturday AM and you're saying, hey, man, I want to get into this thing. I see you guys are, got a fan base. You guys are getting big and yada, yada, and I want to learn what makes you guys tick. Well, please be our guest. You can go to our website. You can check it out. We have a free section on our site. You can see it there. It's called www.saturday-am.com/free issues. Every week we have 4 issues on the site. You get to read them right in the screen that you're in. It's all in embed. You can read it right there. I wish we had a better setup for it. It looks like a kind of a crappy bookshelf. Wish we had a better setup for it than that. But either way, you can go there. You can check it out. If you're a subscriber, you actually get more. You get 8 issues on the site, and includes Saturday PM as well. We don't include Saturday PM with this. So right now, I think it's issue 1 and 2. So you get to see how our magazine started. We're going to soon put up their issue number 3. We also have issues number 83 and I think 84. So you typically get 2 old issues and you get 2 of our more recent issues. You can read those at any time for free, and hopefully get a chance to see what the magazine's all about, and hopefully subscribe is what we hope you'll do. Likewise, we have an Instagram channel. You can go to at Saturday_AM, and if you go through that, you have a chance to check out really cool posts, exclusive posts that we have there. Sometimes we show off things exclusively there. One of the great things you get is we have an Instagram TV channel for our Saturday AM content, and we have exclusive shows there. So we have our own YouTube channel, but we also have an Instagram TV section. You get some really cool stuff there. We have a series called Knowledge Bomb, and the entire idea is that we try to give you guys short 10-minute discussions about things that can help you succeed in getting your comics out there. So it's not pitch sessions. This is entirely different. The first episode, we talked about being a master of none, and the idea that, a lot of creators fall victim to trying to do too much. And we try to break down a little bit about some examples of people who succeeded by focusing on one thing, and then after they've succeeded at that, then expanding it out. But when you try to do lots of things, you're not really good at any of them, then you become a master of none. We've also talked about social media, so it's really cool there. We talk about harassment and ways to be on the lookout for harassment, what it means to be harassed, because sometimes people get it, shifted. So we love it, and hopefully you guys will like it. If you check it out, we got some great comments from people who've seen it. So that is there. Likewise, I want to give a big shout out to, we do have advertisers. You can buy ads with Saturday AM. One of our big advertiser supporters is a company called Plast. They make an app called Comic Draw. It is the ultimate comics creation app for iPad. We are huge fans of Plast, and if you get a chance, you have a chance to basically get this app. It's $9.99 on your iPad. It's only for iPad. We know that rubs some people the wrong way, but that's what the developer has chosen for a variety of reasons. You can use it with Apple Pencil. We have quite a few creators at Saturday AM who use it. But here's the key thing I can say about it, folks, is that, look, if you are tired of buying paper and buying markers and buying pencils and buying rulers and buying erasers and buying new pencils and buying other types of inks and buying other types of color options, then you can forego all that crap and get yourself Comic Draw, which offers you all types of pencil options, a variety of ways to color your work, including digital or things that look like watercolor or Copic markers. You have a perspective guide that helps you lay out comic book pages. You can import a comic book script, literally, from Microsoft Word. You can import it, and it allows you to be able to put your comic together more easily. You can do lettering. You can draw, ink, color, letter, and then even has an output feature where you can output it to various platforms. Folks, go Comic Draw. Go digital. This way you save yourself from having to spend a lot of money going the traditional route, which is nothing wrong with it. But, folks, I can tell you right now, since many of you guys are young and new, at the end of the day, the industry has gone digital. So you're either going to be drawing it traditional and scanning it to send your work in to the publisher, or you're going to be sending them a thumb drive, or you're going to be just sharing it with them via Dropbox or Google Drive, which is what all of our creators do. So if you want to look at digital, folks, this is your opportunity. Check out Comic Draw. There are lots of apps out there, folks. We're not saying that any of them suck. We are a big fan of Comic Draw. We highly recommend you check them out. Last but not least, we got more news, of course, that we'll share towards the end of this video. But, folks, we are just 1 week away from the kickoff, the official kickoff of our Road to 100. Hashtag Road to 100. This year, we've done March Madness, March Art Madness, March Madness. We've done hashtag Summer of Manga. And now, we're about to kick off Road to 100. That is 9 issues till we hit our 100th issue. This is a huge event. We've got some really big things that will be happening for that issue, leading up to that issue. And so folks, including obviously the return of our most popular series outside of Apple Black, Clock Striker, with an amazing artist, folks. So folks, again, if you love Saturday, if you love what we stand for, if you love diversity in manga and trying to change the climate for manga, then please get ready for Road to 100. Subscribe, tell your friends, have them go to our website and check out our free comics. But get ready, because I promise you, we're proud to have made it to 100 issues, 5 years of consistent activity and publishing great content from creators around the world. And we intend to go out this year with a damn bang. Issue 100, the hashtag Road to 100 begins issue 91, which hits this coming weekend. All right, so that's it. Morgan, are you back?
Never left.
You never left, Morgan.
I had a glass of water before we even started, so I've just been enjoying the conversation.
All right, okay. All right, well, I hope all you guys get your questions ready. But before we do that, though, we're going to do a quick pitch session. We just call these, I'm not sure if you have a name for it. I don't have to create a name for this, but rapid fire pitches. So this is the elevator, but we should call it elevator pitch. This is what we call elevator pitch. So assuming that you only had a couple of minutes to convince a publisher of your comic, you can tell them the name, you can tell them the pitch. And then now what you guys don't see is we get to see the artwork. So we have the artwork as well we get to look at. But you guys get to see what we see. And the question is going to be, okay, so, you know, would you want to publish this? So, Morgan, the first one is called Kaiju Slayer Dante. Now, do you have the artwork on your end?
Yeah, let me make sure it's the right person. Yes.
Okay, all right. So, Kaiju Slayer Dante. This is Kaiju Killer Dante. This is the pitch. Kaiju Killer Dante is like Pacific Rim meets Devil May Cry. Pacific Rim, you know, the movie where all this stuff's happening. Devil May Cry, the video game series. What do you think?
First of all, that's a great description of Pacific Rim, the movie where everything's happening.
Yes.
To be honest, I actually haven't seen Pacific Rim. I'm familiar. It's, you know, the giant mechs.
I've seen that movie.
I kind of want to. I'm a big fan of mechs, so it's one of those that's kind of, it's on my list. I just haven't gotten around to it. Devil May Cry, on the other hand, I'm fairly familiar with that one. I played one of the games, and of course, it's also based off of Dante. There's a lot of Dante's Inferno themes. I'm kind of curious if that's why this series is named after Dante.
Of course, of course. Come on, of course.
Things actually, yeah, it's Kaiju Slayer Dante.
I mean, it's made. I mean, it's in the name. It's in the name. It's literally the name. Kaiju, which is what they call the monsters of the Pacific Rim. Slayer, which is what Dante is essentially, a demon slayer. Dante, which is the name of the character from Devil May Cry. It's all there.
I guess there's not enough to know, because I mean, the only thing that really, I mean, not that these two things have to be connected, but the two things that kind of work well with each other is that there's like demon or monster slaying, but I don't know. There's not really a lot to kind of make me wonder what this is. There's not enough to know about it.
Okay, so so this is how pitches work. The question is not is this awesome? The question is, does this work for you to make you want to learn more? And you've got the artwork that our viewers do not have. So based off of this and based off the art, would you say yes?
No, I mean, even the artwork I'm looking at doesn't really match what
exactly. Exactly. I was like, please.
I love what
don't be nice.
No, I'm just saying, but it has nothing to do with, I don't see a connection, so no.
Correct, exactly. And so folks, here's the thing. So yes, here's what I see when I see this. I see, first of all, I see a name that is literally the concept. Now, I have seen Pacific Rim, and I have played. In fact, I was in the industry when Devil May Cry was happening. So the original Devil May Cry, I remember going to the launch party for it. So, you know, I thought it was a cool game. I thought it got ridiculous after a while. In fact, I would argue this is why the Japanese who used to run the video game industry lost the video game industry, because, you know, these are sort of characters they were putting out there, not very diverse characters. These kind of like weird amalgamations of white characters and Asian characters and so forth that just weren't always, I mean, like, you know, it's like you can't just keep making that and say, okay, well, this is my definition of cool, because no one dresses like that. No one behaves like that. That kind of like flamboyant, sort of thing that became the style of a lot of manga for video games. I wish that maybe were the case, perhaps, but that's just not the reality. And so when you are a video game player, think about this. When you're a video game player and you've got a choice between Grand Theft Auto and Devil May Cry, I know, because again, we're in the manga world, there's going to be a number of you go, oh, I'll take Devil May Cry all day long. Well, guess what? Millions of people said you're wrong. And they chose Grand Theft Auto. And that's why the Western side of the world dominates the video game industry right now. Wasn't that way when it started. Wasn't that way when I got into video games. When I started working in the corporate arena of video games, it was dominated by the Japanese. Not today. And so from that, you know, when I saw this, I kept thinking, I'm like, okay, so we've got, so my first thought was, okay, Dante, he was a very flamboyant, kind of just bizarre character, you know, who thinks he's really cool. Okay, so maybe that's what this is. But then Pacific Rim, it's like robots and monsters, yada, yada. Okay, perhaps that's it. I didn't want to assume that this is a fanboy thing, and it may not be a fanboy thing. I know I said something about in the chat room, Chang said, well, I'm not even a fan of Bleach, and that's great, that's fine. It doesn't change the fact that that's what it reads like. And same thing here. This young man, I'm sure, will tell me I'm not a fan of Devil May Cry. I just, my character was named Dante already. Folks, whatever floats your boat. I mean, again, I can only tell you what it seems like as a publisher. That's why the show's called Pitch Session. What it seems like to me is that, oh, he's a fan of this and he based it off of this, and that's what this is. And that's what this seems like. The problem here is that, and this is what pitches are, is that even if I were intrigued by this, even if I were intrigued, the next step is for me to say, okay, well, show me something. When I go to this young man's page, what I see is a variety of images that have nothing to do with this. And that's okay. But one of the questions I had, and Morgan, tell me if this seems right, is you read this, you think, okay, well, is it mechs? Are we talking about mechs? Because that's what's in Pacific Rim. So is it Devil May Cry in the sense that the character takes down these monsters that are kaiju? Kaiju, by the way, are meant to be gigantic, right? That's what kaiju comes from. So they're not just normal, you know, creatures that come out of the ground and they're just normal human size. These are meant to be giant beasts. So if these are giant beasts and it's Devil May Cry, is it just like a really kick-ass, agile, giant robot? But again, when I look at these images on his profile, I don't see that. Nor do I see like a cool character. In fact, what do we see a lot of, Morgan? We see a lot of fan art. We see a whole lot of fan art.
Right.
So so therein lies the challenge. Go ahead. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
My instinct, I mean, I guess I don't know if you need me to actually like answer that question. You know, what do I think? Are there robots or anything in it? Or
no, I'm just saying that's what I would read. So again, yeah. That's all this section is about, is taking what we've got, taking the limit snapshot of what we've got as a straight up elevator pitch and saying, am I interested? And then if you show me the next question, as I said at the beginning of the show, the 4 rules that you have it on the portfolio. Well, the next question after, if I'm intrigued by this, which I'm not saying I am, although I'm somewhat intrigued, it doesn't sound like you're very intrigued, then the next question, show me the art. If the art doesn't match it, then okay, you've lost me, and that's what's happening here. But go ahead.
No, I think that's fine. That says it all.
Okay. All right. Our next elevator pitch is one of my favorite. We got 2 that I have that names are just amazing. This one is How to Kill a Lullaby. And I feel like whenever I say the name of this, which I'm going to do a couple of times in the next few minutes, I feel like playing that song from Arrested Development, where George Michael, you know, thinks that his girlfriend maybe has dumped him. So he walks away, and it's like every time he walks away, the music plays, doom 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 doom. And that's how I feel about How to Kill a Lullaby. Doom 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 doom. All right. So the pitch is Fooly Cooley plus Yu Yu Hakusho, and then this young person commits the cardinal sin of going beyond my number and saying it's like Fooly Cooley plus Yu Yu Hakusho meets I Hate Fairy Tail plus Evangelion. This is a failure right off the gate with that. Oh. I would say a failure off the name, but the name has me so intrigued. But with this, it's like you've lost all goodwill because this was ridiculous. To make a pitch, to have a concept that is Fooly Cooley meets Yu Yu Hakusho meets as if that in of itself is not enough. I mean, Fully Cooley is like such a dense, strange work that you would make that part of your criteria for what this series is like, meets Yu Yu Hakusho, and then say it's that meets this is absolutely insane. What do you think of this?
I absolutely agree. I think there's way too many. I mean, I like because it's like a math problem. It's like the PEMDAS thing. Like you have to, do the first order of equation before you do the second order. But it's like, what does the first order of the equation mean? Like, what is Fooly Cooley and Yu Yu Hakusho supposed to mean compared to I Hate Fairyland and Evangelion? So there's too much. It really it shouldn't even be 3. Like it really the max is 2. I mean, that's clearly. So I'm not really sure. Again, because there's too much to try to process to figure out what the concept of this is. And again, there's no. I don't know if normally I know you guys have had like a synopsis or description of this, but I'm not really sure what to make of this one either.
Oh, you know what? I just made a mistake, folks. I make mistakes all the time. I just made a mistake. I was looking at the wrong artwork for the previous thing. So we're gonna have to go back and address that one in a second. My bad. We're gonna have to go back and address the last one. Demon Slayer Dante. So my bad. We'll get back to that one because I do have a change on that one. So I was looking at this art for the other one.
Okay.
Yeah, I was looking at this art. And I was thinking, like, wait a minute, there is no Demon Slayer Dante in this one. This doesn't change how I feel about How to Kill a Lullaby, because this doesn't seem like this would match it either. A lot of fan art here, but I will say, in deference to both of these creators, who, by the way, deserve a tremendous amount of respect for even submitting their stuff in, as should be understood by everybody. This art is lacking for sure, but this does match what I would think this artwork would be asking for if it were better, right? Like this artwork's lacking for sure, but this artwork is closer to what this should be artistically, at least how I perceive the title being How to Kill a Lullaby. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So what do you think of the art?
Now
this person has a Yu Yu Hakusho, which I think is not bad.
Right. I mean, the one thing with some of the art on here is it's kind of hard to tell what this person's style is. A lot of it seems like it's being drawn directly from whatever material that person is studying. So there's very little to kind of judge what this person's capabilities are, except for some of the more recent stuff. And even that is, I mean, none of it's related to what I'm guessing. It kind of what I'm seeing, it looks like it's a different story that they're trying to promote, but it kind of looks like what this could be, like you're saying.
No, I mean, I think this is something. Well, I don't know. I mean, you're right. This could be something. This scene. I mean, the name you're talking about the one he's advertising. He's got advertised.
Maybe, I don't know. I mean, it's kind of hard to tell. What kind of stories or what kind of works that this person's capable of doing.
There's no backgrounds here. There's no. I mean, so this artist, in my opinion, is a long way to go to get to the level where they would be drawing a comic book, at least, because I just don't see that. I see a lot of fan art. And like you said, I see a lot of art based off of other people's stuff. He's got talent, to be sure, but there's not enough here that would convince me of the ability for them to do anything more interesting. So that being said, this is interesting. I don't have, again, I hear the name and instantly I'm like, Lord have mercy. But then I think to myself, this could be hilarious. Dun, 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 dun. But then the artwork doesn't match it. So I'm like, oh crap. Okay. Well, there's not enough stuff here. Let me go back. And I see people talking about it. And folks, like I said, we make mistakes. I own up to my mistakes. And this one I own to. Kaiju Slayer Dante. Again, the way people submitted stuff, we kind of had to, it got mixed up a little bit. Hey, this artwork is tough. I like this art. I'm sorry. I do like this art. This is cool. And I would definitely be down to see more of this guy stuff. It's not perfect. It's got a lot of challenges to it. I'm gonna tell you what this reminds me of. It reminds me of Frey. I think he was in the chat. This reminds me of Frey for sure. This is just interesting. This is some really cool stuff. You know, I think this is an interesting setup. He's got a really funky art style that seems very kind of fun. It's quirky. You know, I mean, so it's not going to be everyone's cup of tea, but I like the hell out of it. I really enjoyed this. And so while the name is ridiculous, I'll say this right now, Kaiju Slayer Dante. If he took an absurd approach to the material, which he doesn't sound like he is based on what he's referencing this with, if he took a really fun sort of thing with this, this would be interesting. This would be really interesting. So I would be really, really intrigued. This guy's stuff is really good. I'm down with this. I would definitely check this out. So, and you didn't care for his art?
No, I did like the artwork. I think at the time when you asked me whether or not it kind of matched what he was doing for the story, I mean, again, I don't see anything. I mean, some of the stuff that he's doing, I think you could, you know, it kind of fits with the concept that maybe he's going with. No, I mean, I love his style. I like the bold lines. I like the characterizations that he has. I mean, that's kind of my style as well. Or, you know, some of the artists that I enjoy have really clean, crisp artwork like he does.
Yeah, well, so we'll have to reach back out to Kaiju Slayer Dante guy because that's pretty dope. The next one is another title that is pretty amazing. Emissary of the Oasis. This is Devilman meets The Walking Dead, which is that's something. That is something because Devilman is insane and Walking Dead is insane in its own way. But these are two properties that I could not make less sense together. You know what I mean? Like Devilman is all about demons and characters that clearly are have agency and they're able to do things and think and you know, command armies. Walking Dead is about humans versus zombies that have no agency, right? They're all id. They have no real kind of ego. They're just id. They go on instinct of just eating. You know what I mean? Like this just doesn't seem to connect with me at all as a pitch, but and the name is just crazy. What did you make of this?
I mean, I could kind of see the two being related. You know, for me, like Walking Dead implies like the end of the world, and if you're talking about demons as well, those two kind of themes seem to go hand in hand with one another. Like, you know, maybe it's like end of the rapture, so you know, devils roam the earth, and you know, you also have the dead that are sort of you know, they were left behind, something like that. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, maybe it also has something to do with this character. You know, again, there was Akira who became Devilman, and so the series is him trying to figure out what to do with this power that he's got. So maybe that has to do with this character that's in the land of the dead, and so he comes across this power and has to use that to somehow survive, or it's somehow related in that way. I could kind of see these two being together. I'm not sure. Emissary of the Oasis. I mean, Oasis doesn't sound like either of these two things, so that's kind of an interesting time. Maybe it's you know, it's meant to be like that, sort of ironic. I don't know. I mean, this song sounds pretty interesting.
Yeah, it is. I will grant you, it is. It is definitely interesting. Artistically, what'd you make? I mean, you know, that's the strongest part of this is the art. I mean, you know, this young man, we followed him for some time. He's been a fan of Saturday for a long time. He's grown dramatically. He's still, you know, the question is, can he do or produce more stuff? But, you know, I don't know. What did you make of this?
Right. I wish I could see more comic related stuff from him because the example that he has shown, I mean, his style, it reminds me a lot of, I have to look at my bookcase to remember his name, Hajime Isayama, the guy who does Attack on Titan.
Yes.
And Junji Ito. It's a really kind of really intense kind of style that I think I love it, actually. I mean, I love his work. He's got really good quality in his artwork. I think it would just be nice to see more comic related stuff. It just seems like there's a lot of kind of sketches or ideas that he's, you know, kind of posting and stuff. But I mean, he's got some really good artistic talent. Maybe that, considering the sort of craziness of Devilman, I'm not sure how this style would really fit with that, but it definitely seems like something that would work in a Walking Dead horror type manga.
He's got one piece of sequential artwork that looks really good, and you know, it takes place like in a forest. It's not. I mean, it's not perfect, but it's not bad at all. I mean, I really quite cool with it. But yeah, I just, you know, it's like I said, you see that picture, like, man, like that's hard to see those two things together. So, and I see people are kind of questioning, you know, the nature of pitch elevator, this section of the show. So I'll talk a little bit about what real pitches are, because I'm not sure if some of the people saying that they know what it is, but this obviously is just a snip of it, folks. As I said at the start of this is a snippet. We're only giving you certain pieces of what we get, because the idea here is that you've got to pitch us in an elevator, but which is where the term comes from, if you do actually know what you're talking about. But anyways, yeah, so it's interesting. I don't know. I think this is, I don't know. Like I said, he's grown as an artist, but there's still a lot of stuff here that just kind of catches me off. I'm not sure, again, as a storyteller. That's what kind of catches me with this. I think that's what catches me with a lot of the pitches when they do the pitch format that we like, is that it forces people to have to choose, right? You have to choose. And that's what we talk about all the time in these pitch session shows and within other, you know, videos that we've done, is that you're never going to get a perfect scenario. That's why that one young man chose like 5 different titles. It's like this meets this, meets this, meets this, meets this, because they're trying to make it perfect, and you're never going to make it perfect. The idea of a pitch is just to get you excited. Do the two things together strike you as interesting? Does the name make you have some sort of connection to it? And then if you want to see more, which in this case, we're looking at the art, does that in turn make you say, okay, I'm getting some feeling? As we talked about with the young man who did Kaiju Slayer Dante, that doesn't grab you, right? The idea of Pacific Rim meets Devil May Cry isn't particularly enthralling. The name is as generic as you get. Then again, I saw the art. I was looking at the wrong art. I see the art and I'm thinking, well, okay, wait, time out. You know, I don't know if that's ultimately what the story is, but when you see the art, you see how dynamic and unique it is. You start thinking, okay, well, this could be a really funky take on that type of material. And while it may have its bearings in fanboyism, still kind of interesting. And therefore, you know, I would want to see more, and I do want to see more. Our last pitch here, and then we'll answer some questions in our elevator pitch section here, is Let's Go Now, pilot issue. I'm not sure what's called pilot issue. Their comic is Harry Potter meets Star Wars, which is one hell of a thing. What do you make of this?
I mean, those are two very well-known, very popular series. Magic in Space, I guess. The title doesn't really tell me anything for starters. Let's Go Now. I don't know if pilot issue means like it's about a pilot with issues, or if it was pilot issue. Like, I
took it as pilot, like a pilot for an upcoming series or something.
Right. Well, yeah, then I guess that's a bit distracting by including that. Let's Go Now. I don't know. I guess I'm also trying to figure out, because for me, like, if it's a pitch, it's X meets Y. One of those two things is kind of the general premise of like the setting and what the concept of the story is going to be. And the other thing is something that sort of helps supplement, you know, what this blend is. And I'm trying to figure out whether or not this is a futurism space story that has magic in it, or it's a mystical magic story. Like, I don't know. I guess it would strictly be something in space if you're going to include Star Wars. That's such a prominent thing to reference. So I don't know. I feel like I've seen enough stories about magic in space. I'm not sure if Harry, I don't know which of these two that I would keep and mix with something else, I guess.
Yeah, I think so. I agree with everything you're saying. I think the challenge is, and again, we'll have to probably address this next issue, because I see our next episode, people are commenting on this stuff about like, well, I wish I could see the artwork. And yeah, that's the point. You can't see the art. So does this excite you from just hearing this? And we can see the art, because we're not trying to put people on blast in a negative way. But I don't know. I think the problem, again, this is where, so this is one of those aspects with pitching where, and so again, for the people who are, you know, again, in the chat talking about, well, I've pitched and this is not how you do it. That's bullshit. I've been involved in this industry for a long time, and this is how it's done. But let me just go a little further than that. The aspect of this, though, in particular, that really resonates with the art side of this, and why we tell you to have a portfolio, stuff like that. Let me just kind of put this in real perspective for you. If you say that you want to be the leading man in a great movie, you know, an action movie, like that's what you want to do. I want to be a leading man in action movies. and you you are maybe very old, or you are particularly or potentially very very young. You are someone who is not particularly athletic. You are someone who can't hold a gun or even hold a fake sword to save your life. It doesn't take long for someone who you're talking to about, yeah, so look, I got this idea for a movie, and I want to star in it, to look at you and say, no. Like, I might like the idea, but I don't like the idea enough to put you in it because you do not fit what that idea could ultimately be. And that's what this comes in with the artwork. That's what comes in with the artwork, is that you look this stuff in, you kind of say, wait a minute, I don't quite connect with some of these pieces here. When you see the art, you're like, okay, I kind of like the idea. I kind of like the where this thing is going, but I just don't see enough here artistically to match what they're trying to tell me they're interested in doing. And so I'm not saying that's necessarily the case here, although to be fair, this person has a very this person has a very cartoony style. I kind of like it, but when you say Harry Potter meets Star Wars and this is what you're giving us is this, it's really hard to kind of make that connection. And that's, again, why these three pieces are so essential. You know, it's really hard to kind of make all these things fit. So I think ultimately, you know, I don't know. I'm kind of at a loss, I think, a little bit on this one. I kind of like the name. I don't quite know what the name means, but I kind of like the name. But I don't know.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
It's interesting. It's like, for a pitch, you want to do two things that are going to be prominent enough that people are going to know what it is that you're referencing. They're going to kind of see, oh, it's this theme meets this theme. But I feel like these two are, just because of how big they are and because they mean two totally different things. You know, again, one's magic, one's space. I think it's just hard to focus on. I don't know if it just means finding something else to sort of throw into that pitch and take one thing out. But yeah, I'm a bit at a loss for this one too.
Yeah, agreed. I think that's kind of where we are. Is that you know, it has to there has to be more there, and I think right now, at least when I look at that, it's tough for me to kind of make those connections with it. But I do think her art is interesting. There's some things in her artwork that are kind of interesting, and I don't know. I'm curious about it, but I don't know based off of this pitch that we've seen to date, and based off the art, those two things connect as well as I think they should. So, yeah. All right, folks. So that is the main tenor of the show. Again, we've highly recommend you guys go check out Saturday AM issue number 90, where our two short stories for Summer of Manga, appeared in that issue. It's still available now. You can get it for 99 cents, and you have in there, you've got some great content. You've got Tender Loving Punch by Sama, a young girl out of Saudi Arabia, and then you have Essence by Chang Zhong, a young man who we've seen grow pretty dramatically. It's got an interesting concept. Got some really great moments of his story there. You should definitely check out. You can get it again for just 99 cents on our website, www.saturday-am.com. Now, Saturday AM, of course, is our manga that focuses on, you know, some pretty interesting things. And so we're really excited about the general idea for making diversity within shonen manga. But we also have a diverse seinen magazine. Issue 2 just came out for Saturday PM. It debuts white manga's first new work for a very limited time. I'm not sure. Yeah, actually, I think it was free. It's no longer free, but you can get it on our website, obviously, and it's worth it. It's great content from creators all over the world. We have Quick Draw from Kai Link in Australia, Dark Web by Jack Sherwin from UK. We have Yellow Stringer from Jeffrey John Louis here in America. We have Bakassi by, of course, the great Odunze Agogo, aka White Manga. The first installment's in issue number 2. Issue number 3 is going to be launching soon, and that will have the next part of Bakassi. We'll also have the debut of Yasuke Black Samurai by Robert Burton. So we're really excited about Saturday PM. It's moving slowly but surely. Very difficult to get out Saturday AM as much as we do, and Saturday PM, of course, continues that strand. So we're really excited with this magazine, and you all support it very well. So please keep checking it out. White, unfortunately, is not going to be in Chicago with us at Wizard World, but we are bringing Robert Burnhams, who will produce Yasuke Black Samurai. We'll have a lot of cool stuff there. So really excited about that, and we hope you guys will have a chance to check it out. Now, We're going to answer some questions here shortly. I do want to address Summer of Manga. Summer of Manga, as I said at the very beginning of this, we still have a ways to go on Summer of Manga. We're not finished, but we are at the end. If you are a subscriber, you have till the end of day tomorrow to get in your pitch if you are a subscriber. And by the way, if you just bought issue 90, where that particular entrance information is there. So you can definitely check that out, and you have a chance to enter your short story pitch. For those people who are still questioning how our pitches are done, once you buy the issue, you can see just how it's set up, because it is very so a bit more robust process. But you have a chance to check it out and enter your short story there, and we will get in touch with you at a later date. Now, as I indicated, we've been bombarded with these. This is not our job. We have it. This stands right now. We have content that we can publish at any given time for Summer of Manga. So, it's not going to be a scenario where, just because you send it in, you're going to get published. That's not how this works. This is like anything that you pitch. You're going to pitch it. If we want to publish it, we'll let you know, and we'll negotiate the parameters of that. If not, we won't. It's that simple. So, again, if you're someone who's being impatient and forgetting the fact that we produce a magazine, that we've got, a trade show we're heading to in 3 weeks in Chicago. We're flying some of our people from all over the world there, that we have, our road to 100 beginning, or to 100 issues, and on various other things. Then I would say don't pitch, because it's you're trying to put on us something you wouldn't put on any other company, and that's disrespectful. It's unfair. It's just not the reality. So I'm sure for people who are struggling with that, you can watch the video at the start, and we do a big number talking about that. So with that being said, we're going to answer some of these questions you guys may have, and then we'll wrap up with a couple of other announcements. We do have some more exciting things coming up. I don't know if people want to submit new questions, or if just scroll back up. I'm not sure I want to scroll all the way up, but I guess we can, because I'm not sure. I don't know if
I don't know if I was seeing. There was a lot of discussion as we were talking about the pitches. I'll look too and see if there were any questions we maybe missed, but I didn't. Okay. I didn't see anything. If you guys did post something, it might be worth just posting it again so we can see it at the bottom and it's refreshed for us.
Absolutely. So we have a couple of questions starting to come in. Thank you for the folks who are doing that. Let's see here. So Jerry says, whoops, Jerry just retracted his thing. Jerry retracted both. Damn, Jerry. Why? Why, Jerry? Those seem to be obvious questions to me. Damn it, Jerry. Damn it. Oh, Jerry reposted. I'm not sure why Jerry took it away and then brought it back, but okay, Jerry. Let's see here. So for the people who submitted, and you said to just start on a site like Tapastic, once they do and release chapters, etc., would you guys be keeping an eye on them? Sure. Yeah. I mean, yeah. So, we look at all sorts of creators, and we try to focus on the creators that are, releasing content. I mean, look, it's like we said before. I mean, there are so many creators out there that it's really difficult to try to penetrate some of those things. It's tough to, every creator is different. And again, this is not our normal gig. Our normal gig is producing our magazine with our exclusive creators. So yeah, I would say that if we're looking at, if there's a creator that we thought was interesting, like we talked tonight with the elevator pitch thing that we looked at, if there's a creator that's interesting, we're all about continuing to follow along with them and trying to keep an eye on them. We've got 27 people, I think, within a group. So it's not, impossible for us to keep track of creators. And there's some creators that we just keep track of naturally. I mean, Jay Oden is he's a professional comic book artist who's published through some major American companies. We, have worked with him for some time. But we hadn't worked for him. We've known about him for some time. He knew about us for some time. The conversation started, and ultimately we were able to, kind of get him engaged. And so we're really excited about that. Really excited about working with him. So I think, at the end of the day, we basically were able to work with him, and pull things together to have him join the group. And so it's been really cool. So we're really excited about that. I think that if there's an artist out there who's producing good work, and we were intrigued by you before, if you're producing a regular comic book, Tapasix, Mac Jeeves, Line Webtoon, what have you, trust me, we'll know who you are. We'll be keeping track of you. Can't say we'll be in touch of everything that you do, so please don't write and be like, hey, I just updated this latest chapter, check it out, because that's just not, we get bombarded with those requests every single day, but we certainly will be trying to check it out. We certainly will kind of look and keep track of those things. Let's see here. Michael Bebbington says, what is your favorite aspect of Takei's artwork? I personally like the that's to you, Morgan.
Yep. No, I totally agree. I think it's very much the same. I mean, his designs are very interesting. His style is just, it's a bit gestural, but it's also, it's just super dynamic and just interesting. I've been sort of enamored with it, since I was like 13 years old when I sort of discovered manga. That's very much the primary reason I'm into his work. Hopefully that answers the question.
Yeah. Okay. So let's see. So the young man who was talking before about the one who's questioning how we do is asking about pay and so forth.
Right.
And other people have addressed it with him. So short story is to say that Keisuke, I'm not sure who you are. You seem to have had an issue since you come into the chat, trying to poke holes in what we do. I'm not sure you are. So this is what I talked about at the beginning of this chat of legitimate questions versus other questions. And Logan Grant appears to also be part of this bunch. So I'll say that, again, yeah, these are confidential issues. If you, every creator we work with is different. Every creator we have a different relationship with. There are tons of places to go, and perhaps Keisuke and Logan Grant have a company that you can hire you guys with. But but no one gives their art away, and no one is devalued at Saturday AM. That's why we don't publish everybody. We publish the people that we think are worth it, and we encourage them to go places where they can continue to develop their skills and do more things with. We will probably, because we actually do have these conversations. We do give away a lot of pertinent information to people who are trying to get into the industry on other when we do our trade shows, and it's actually quite a popular segment. This is not the area for that, but what I would say is that, but again, like I said, I'll say this, folks, always be dubious of situations where you're being asked to give away your intellectual property, always. Subsequently, always be dubious of people who are asking you to do things that they themselves are not actually paying for. I'm always having 20 years in the industry, in the video game industry, having worked with major companies and groups. One thing I'm always struck by, and we see this time and time again, are the people who love to pose questions and love to try to poke holes in things, who are themselves not doing the thing that they wish to have done. Always be dubious of that scenario. Always be dubious of that. It's the Pied Piper syndrome, the person that comes out, tries to make a scene, suggests that they're the ones who are ultimately concerned about you, and they're not doing anything to elevate, move, advance what you're about. Those are the people who tend to take advantage of. Those are people who tend to try to lead you down a pathway that does not get you to the next level. White Manga hasn't stayed with us for 4 years and developed 2 graphic novels that are bestsellers for no reason. We don't have new creators coming to us looking to join, and new creators who've had success with us for no reason. So we don't address the particular issue regarding money because, again, the people who raise those questions are people who aren't subscribing to us. And every creator is different. The fact of the matter is that every relationship we have is on a different scale, as is the case with most publishers. But the minute that someone suggests that we've stolen someone's artwork, stolen someone's concept, that we've disenfranchised someone, please have them come talk to me. Otherwise, prove what you're about. We got 100 issues of success. Prove what you're about if you have issue with what we're doing. Angel Lewis says, Morgan, how easy or difficult has it been with you working with Saturday AM?
I honestly, and to be fair, I have a very easygoing personality, or try to. I've always had a great time working at Saturday AM. I've actually learned a lot by working with Saturday AM. It's helped me develop, as a business, developing my sort of entrepreneurial and business mindset, but also helping me as a creator. I mean, that's what this company is here to do. It's not just to publish works and, get big and make money. It's to really foster a community among ourselves of really talented artists, and making sure that, we have the resources and that we work together to produce some really great content for good reasons. And I think if you're worried about working with Saturday AM, just remember it's as much as what you put into working with a company as you expect to get out of it. So I put my best foot forward, and I do my best to work with Saturday AM and be productive, and it makes it easier. So it's as much on you, and it's your responsibility to make that an easy experience, in my opinion.
Yeah, I think. Look, I mean, and again, this what frustrated me about this, and again, I'm very upfront. There'll be people who don't like that, and I don't care. I've made it 44 years, and I've had a successful career, so I think I've earned the right to say to talk truth to power. But I think the thing that I always find frustrating about these arguments is that at the end of the day, no one who's a creator, and I don't know how many people who are listening to this chat are people of color, but if you are someone of color, particularly someone who's Black, then, and this is something we talk about internally all the time. We have our own private website, so we talk about these things all the time, not the pay situation. We just talk about business elements, and we have conversations like what you guys get to experience. We have these at a deeper level in our group. It's one of the great things about our group is that we actually do have a private internet group that we all get to chat and communicate with. So if you make it in Saturday, and you're part of a really exclusive group. But one of the things that's always fascinating about it is that when we talk to this stuff, I always tell people, particularly again, people of color, people who are particularly people of African descent, African American people in particular, is that being creative does not mean anything. It means nothing. You're not entitled to be Beyonce. You're not entitled to be the fifth best Beyonce. I don't know who that would be. I don't know if that'd be Monica or Brandy or whoever, but you're not entitled to be any of those things. I can't tell you how many just dynamite Black women who can sing like nobody's business that you see in your local church that weekend. If they produce themselves on the shows, they have like a big show, they'll be there singing for the community. I can't tell you, and you all know this, those of you who are Black, and those of you who've been to a Black church, you know this. How many of them still work at Food Line, still work at the bank, still work at the post office? Why? Because you're not promised anything in creativity. So when you hear stuff like this, you always get a bit, for me particularly, get a bit amazed, because again, at the end of the day, as I said at the very start of this, unless someone is actually trying to make you get to where you're trying to get to, then you take what they say with a grain of super thin salt, because that's what it is salt. They're trying to put salt in your game, put salt in your tank. They're not worried about what you need to do to survive. They're not worried about what it's going to make you do to get to the next level. But they damn sure want to stop the train that they see happening that they're not a part of. You can't make everybody who wants to be a creator and successful be successful. That's not how this works. Tons of artists are out there. They're not Jim Lee. Tons of manga creators exist in Japan. They're not Kishimoto or Oda Rich. If you're trying to succeed at this, your first objective needs to be good. If you're trying to succeed at this, your second objective needs to be good enough for people to care about what you're creating. Instagram makes millions, and I don't see whatever that young man's name was talking about. Does Instagram give them money? Don't get it twisted, folks. When people try to throw those curveballs out there, they're not being serious about that. Trust me, they're not. They're not being serious about that. They can say they are, but they're not. Because at the end of the day, they're not worried about whether or not you succeed. They're worried about whether or not they succeed. Don't get twisted on that stuff, folks. Creativity is not a game. You're not guaranteed anything. The only thing you're guaranteed of is that you will grow as a creator. And if you're focused on those things and you come at us professionally, articulate, organized, with real talent, and you can listen and grow and you're willing to put your effort in, then you're going to succeed. Again, you don't keep people like White Manga. You don't attract people like Morgan Walker. You don't attract people like Jin Jan Chumwai. You don't get those sorts of things happening over 100 issues if you're about anything but success. But if you come in talking about that you are already the bomb, that you already need to be, look, I'm this good, I'm going to make you guys this much money. How much do I get paid? Try that logic at your local job right now. Walk in there and tell them that you're that damn good and you need to know how much money you're going to make. And see how quickly they take that in. Folks, it's funny because at the end of the day, we get hit with questions like that from people who know damn well they're not going to move one needle in what we sell. They are not going to inspire one damn purchase to help us move Saturday AM to the next level. They know that before they asked it. Don't be that person. Recognize what you're trying to do. Do what you've got to do. Instagram does not give you fans and exposure. Instagram gets fans and exposure off of what you do. Again, pose that question to Instagram. And don't worry, Vicente. Like I said, if Saturday AM has long got a reputation, as do I, of putting things out there and putting a capper on it. We keep it real. I see the other dude ran off, by the way. Anyways, next question. What if the manga entries are the same genre, like tokusatsu, or have similar storylines with the other mangas? So we have a bit of a rule that we do not like to have content that's similar published in the same magazine. If you look at Apple Black, it's an action-based manga. It is unlike Saigami, which is a shoujo / shonen manga, which is opposite to Clock Striker, which is an action-based manga starring a female character. All of our series shonen, they're all relatively action-oriented in their own way, but they're all obviously very different artistically, and they all have very, very different characters and character designs and themes and setups. It's just very different. And so I think when you look at that and you kind of put those things in perspective, it does raise, for me, a bit of a concern. And this concern is two ways. One is that, yes, as you've heard me talk about all night tonight, I don't like the idea. We do not want to be in the position of having to publish Me Too comics or publish comics that are, fanboy efforts. We don't want to do that. On the flip side, I think that the other challenge with it is that we also don't want to do it because we want you to succeed. We want you to get a fan base. We want you to we want to publish your graphic novel. That doesn't happen when you're just treading water, when you're not doing anything that's really dramatic, unique, or original. And that includes our own content. We've had people pitch us. We've had people tell me, I can't wait to work with you guys and do the same thing that we saw a few minutes ago. No, I'm asking this question because I want to work with you guys. And all they really want to do is just be like White Manga. They want to be like White. They're not trying to beat White. They want to be like White. They got a comic book that's literally called, we had one guy pitch us on a comic book that was literally called Something Black. And it was about a magic person. But they claimed up one side, down another, that they were not trying to be like Apple Black. But it was literally what it was. So if we care about you and we invest in you, then our efforts are based on the idea that we think that you've got something unique, something that can sell. And at the end of the day, if we feel like you're steering too close to a property that you won't beat, whether it's our own property or another property, then we're gonna say, look, you got to go this different pathway. And if you don't want to do that, then that's where we'll make our goodbyes, because we know that's not going to work. So yes, we don't want there to be too many similar storylines as other manga. We want it to be original for our sake and for your sake. Let's see. Guidance says, is Apple Black going to appear in any of the Road to 100 issues? Yes, it's going to have an extended run beginning in the 90s. I can't say what issue for sure yet, but it will run. It will start and it'll run pretty consistently until issue 100. Have a big thing in issue 100. Let's see here. See here. All right. So Angel Lewis says, "What's up with Well Read?" And Well Read, I think, you know, with Well Read, we are. This is our light novel line. So this was a line that we were trying to do for basically for light novels. And I think that, you know, our whole objective is to try and focus on, again, light novels. Subsequently, J Novel Club, I think they're called, has popped up through the midst, and they're trying to do some cool things. But light novels are really hard. It's still an emerging sort of thing, and in this arena. So, in a nutshell, what I could say is that you know there is still an element that we got to try to work on with it, and we got to try to make it something where we can attract the right talent. The stories can be at the quality level that we want, and just kind of try to get there. I think that's really ultimately what we want to try to do. You know, that's what we're hoping for. So I think, you know, from there, you know, let's just try to, you know, rock and roll with good content. But light novel scene is hard. We're trying to get there, but it's really difficult. Remember, we've got Saturday AM, we got Saturday PM. We have 27 people. We have a lot of content, and so it's really difficult to try to make it work on that end. But we are looking to try to get to the light novel phase. Here. Let's see here. Let me get to where we're at here. Okay. Can you speak about the Kickstarter? Yes, we're going to be announcing a Kickstarter soon. We do have a Kickstarter coming. We're pretty excited about it. I think that the Kickstarter for us is it's going to be really important, basically. You know, we're trying to essentially take the company in a slightly different direction in terms of our output for retail, and so to that end, you know, we feel like we're gonna need some help with that, and there's something we're gonna do anyways, but we feel like we need some help to get there, and so we're really excited about it. We got some really cool things coming as a part of it, and so we're working on producing that aspect of it. So we hope we get there. You know, we're going to be announcing it soon. I think it's very exciting. We've got some really cool things there that people won't have seen. So again, we're hoping that it comes off as strong as we want. We have some really exciting pieces that'll drop. Some great people associated with it. They'll be a part of it. So people that you guys will be, you know, surprised that they're doing some stuff with us on it. So again, pretty excited. I think we'll see where it goes, but we're pretty stoked about it. And we'll be announcing it very soon. Like, it's going to be something, I think it's going to be announced in the next week. So stay tuned, and we'll probably have in fact, we are going to have a very special video. We're going to have a pub talk about that. So I just saw one of the questions come up. I'm sorry, I'm looking at different streams here. So yeah, we are going to make, well, let me phrase that. We do make physical books. Our Saturday tanks are physical. And yes, there's a damn good possibility that we will do something extra down the road. We just haven't quite gotten there yet. But don't be surprised if we do something like that. So any other questions? Anyone else got any questions here? Yeah, and Morgan, you still there? I don't want to hog all the questions here, Morgan.
Yeah, no, I'm still here.
I'm sorry.
I'm sorry. No.
and we might lose me here shortly because our thing is running low here, and we've gone long on time. Let's see here. The quality of a strong story. I think it starts with character. I think it always starts with character. I think you have to start with character, and you've got to focus on being able to. You've got to focus on being able to have a character that you feel something for. I remember some of our creators that we talked with over the last couple of years. One of my big things then has always been to have a vulnerable character. Always have a vulnerable character, because if you don't have a vulnerable character, that character ends up being disliked. People are like, oh, I don't want to see this guy. This guy's never going to get hurt. This girl's never going to get hurt, yada, yada. So it's really crucial that you have a character that is, is that sort of thing. I think if you start a story from that standpoint, then you have a greater chance of being able to produce content that will resonate with a lot of fans. So I think that from that standpoint, I think you have to kind of look at that as the first part of a really attractive story, a really interesting story. And then from there, you then can move forward with having a really great concept. Some people have it, reversed. They think that a great concept is what starts it all off. And I wish that were the case, but I just don't think it is. I think it ultimately starts with a really cool character. Let's see here. So I think Morgan fell off. I'm not sure if she did or not. So I'm just going to hit a few more questions, and then we'll wrap up this issue. And again, I want to thank everyone for taking time out. I appreciate all the questions, even those that, obviously strike me as being a bit not in good faith. But regardless, as you guys know, I'm transparent. I'll keep it real all the way through. Let's see here. Let's see here. Yes, Mutton Chop is going to be a physical tank. Yes, we've said that. Have you read manga in theory and practice? No, I have not. I've not read manga in theory and practice. I don't think that you need to read manga in theory and practice. I think that what you need to do is be focused on. You need to be focused on stories. You need to be focused on expanding your literary knowledge. That's what you have to focus on. One of my big issues for all of our creators that we have, from White Manga down to Anthony Jackson and Bharat Lujani and Mutton Chop, is I tell them, be well read. Don't be stuck on just one thing. Be well read. Have American comics that you read. Have European comics that you read. Watch BBC TV shows. Watch American TV shows. Watch shows on Netflix. Watch shows on Hulu. Build up a really strong sort of library in your head of inspiration that you can call upon when you're thinking of new story ideas. That's what you have to do. I think that makes all the difference in terms of being able to create good stories. I do think that artists who are focusing on manga, I think they miss the boat a lot. I think that it just becomes a scenario where, you create what you see. And, our whole mission is to try to bring diversity to manga. And what that means is that means new ideas. That means new perspectives. If you're coming at it as someone who's disabled, you may have a different idea of what the main character should be. If you come at it with someone who's Black or Latino or so on and so forth, you'll have a different perspective. And all those things help to really drive what you're looking to do. It really does. So again, I would stay focused on that. I'd always try to be focused on stories that start with character and stories that are really good stories. If you're looking at just manga as the sort of aspect that you're looking for to learn how to tell stories, I think that's a giant mistake. Let's see. How many more summer manga submissions do we have to go? This is the final one. It ends tomorrow night at 11:59 p.m., folks. That's it. So if you are Eastern Standard Time, or we may expand it, but Eastern Standard Time for sure. So if you are looking to get your content in for summer manga, folks, and you are a subscriber, then you have until tomorrow evening to get it in. So please try to make that happen. We've done plenty of videos about this. So if any questions you have, you can answer here. You can get that information in the Summer of Manga pitch session. Let's see. Last couple of questions. The best story on Saturday AM, I don't know. I write Clock Striker. I'm a big fan of Clock Striker. Apple Black is very popular, obviously. Saturday PM has some great titles I love. I mean, look, as a publisher, I love literally, and this is no joke, I'm not saying this to be funny, I love every single thing we publish because I know the creators are focused and they're dedicated and they're intelligent and they're just great. And so absolutely. All the titles, Comet Man to Better Off Ignorant, which is one of my favorites. Spoon is one of my favorites. They're all great. Let's see here. The Judge Bizarre Adventure author. Yeah, no, I know who wrote Theories in Manga, which I do love. Judge Bizarre Adventure, by the way. Vizinia, we are looking to do an event calendar, yes, because we are going to be at the Wizard World Chicago show. We may appear at a couple of more shows before the end of the year, so yes. But we will put a calendar up on our site. Do we have a blog post about it? But we'll add more stuff soon. Game Reaper says, "Is Saturday AM a shonen?" Yes, it is. I'm not sure what I understand what Toon Toan is saying, but I probably agree with it roughly. Yeah. Let's see here. We do have a Tokatsu manga coming from Blake Showers, so we're pretty excited about that. Blake Showers, creator of Four Strikes, is going to be producing a series called Tortuga Force 5, and it's kind of like a play on Mighty Morphin Power Rangers. Very cool series. That's going to debut during our Road to 100. How big is our staff and team? We got about 27 people. I think we're going to grow maybe a few more people for the end of the year, and then that includes creators. And then we'll see what next year plays out as. We've got some big things planned for next year. All right, so folks, let me say real quickly, if you want to advertise with Saturday AM, you can. Our ads start at just $10. You can advertise in the magazine. That'll give you a chance to be seen by quite a few people. Remember that if you advertise in a magazine, that includes appearing through our social media. When you consider that our social media has well over 200,000 followers across all of our artists and our whole network. When you consider that we have paid subscribers, that this is a group that you want to advertise with if you produce shonen and or seinen type of content. So definitely, you can see here Celestial Pulses was a great ad by Vizinia. So if you want to have your own ad run, please feel free to check it out. You can find information on our ads at www.saturday-am.com/ads and then /magazine ad. Currently, you can buy an ad for issue 91, which is our first part of our Road to 100. And here's the great thing about our ads, folks. Not only do they get blasted across our social media and appear in our magazine for all time, but they stay in the magazine. So unless someone comes and buys an ad in the next issue and basically outbids you, then they will push you out of the issue and they'll take your place. So you have a chance to get a run of a couple of issues. I think Vicinia's been in a few issues now. She's been blasted across the spectrum. So again, we take very seriously this idea of promoting, artists and creators. And this, again, starts and stops with people buying an ad. If you're serious about your work, as people were trying to say in the chat earlier, to talk about being serious about art. Well, if you're serious about art, folks, then be serious about promoting yourself. And that means going in places that are going to actually advertise you. Instagram charges you for ads. Trust me, we know. So that's what you need to look at. Let's see here. The other thing we want to bring up is our latest issue hits this coming weekend. And it is issue 91. You can see the cover here. And of course, again, if you want to buy an ad, you can do so. But this kicks off our Road to 100, issue 91. 91 issues, folks, since 2013. I mean, that again, that's what seriousness looks like, folks, is 91 issues. We're really proud of this. Master Multiplayer with the Ghost is our very first series that we launched with that helped kick off Saturday AM, and it returns now with the fantastic artwork of Oscar Fong from New Zealand. So really excited about this. Better Off Ignorance going to be in the issue. We got some other great titles in the issue, including 2 new entries for Summer of Manga. Now, Summer of Manga will appear in issue 91, 92, and then the last issue is 93. So again, if you're going to make it into Saturday AM for a short story, we will notify you within the next couple of days. Please do not harass us about getting back to you sooner than that. We've got, as I said at the start of this video, this is not our job. Our job is the magazine. So we've never missed dramatic dates on our magazine. And so we'll be running. We want issue 100 to come out this year. So we're going to be working very hard to make sure the magazine comes out. You can have a chance to experience that. You can subscribe, of course, at www.saturday-am.com/subscribe, and you get 20 issues of Saturday AM. If you subscribe at the premium level, you also get some other stuff. So check out Saturday AM issue number 91. And again, if you're serious, for people who thought about being serious, that's what serious looks like. Buy an ad. All right, folks. So that's it. I want to thank you guys again for tuning in. Now, we're going to be back. We've got more content coming up. As I said before, we have our popular Pub Talk series. We're going to be doing another Pub Talk. This one will have White Manga, Jay Oden, Andrea Voros, Raymond Brown. Basically, the people we launched Saturday AM with will be on this Pub Talk, and we'll be talking exclusively about all the things that we've done with Saturday AM, what's to come for Saturday AM, what new things we'll be doing with Saturday AM. It also will include the first big details about our Kickstarter. So you'll want to check that out. It'll be happening, I believe, early next week. I don't have the exact date yet, but again, White Manga, Andrea Voros, Raymond Brown, Jay Oden, and a few other people. Pub Talk, August 2019 or 2018. It's going to be a really, really cool episode of that. You'll be able to check us out and ask questions. It's going to be really cool. So actually, you'll be able to submit questions. It's not going to be live, but you'll be able to submit questions. So we're pretty excited about that. As far as, thank you, Vicentia, that right there is the truest thing. You can't fake getting to 100 issues, folks. You cannot fake getting to 100 issues. That is so damn true. And so with that one, folks, I want to thank the folks who have been a part of Saturday AM. Thank our fans who have turned out for us. Thank the people who continue to support us with subscriptions. Tell your friends and family about us, folks. And yes, all the questions you've got about where is Saturday AM going next? Is there going to be a video game? Is there going to be anime? All that stuff is happening, folks. We'll be announcing them when the time is right. We don't believe in trying to announce stuff ahead of time. So big things coming. I want to thank again Morgan Walker. I am so excited that we have Morgan Walker on our team. You guys just don't know how tough doing Saturday AM is. And when you can do Saturday AM with the type of fans and creators that we have, it's what makes our group very special. It's one reason why, despite all the challenges we've had, from the haters to people who are, who don't believe in diversity or are racist or what have you, from big companies who, trust me, they know who we are. They have talked about us. They've talked about beating us and various stuff. For big companies to be worried about us, that tells you what Saturday AM is, what it represents. But I tell people all the time, you can't get where we are. You can't have gone this far without having the best damn group of artists out there. Now, folks, as a 44-year-old man who's had a great career in the video game industry, I've produced content that many of the haters who want to detract Saturday AM have actually played. I've created content that they've played. They've not created content I've played, but I've created content that they have played or interacted with. Folks, I can tell you right now, in my 44 years, 20 plus years as a professional in the geek industries, there's nothing that we've done to date, nothing I've done in my life that comes close to assembling this group of talent that is passionate, intelligent, awesome, smart, articulate, just amazing people. From White Manga, who I've known since he was about 19 or so, to now having watched him get his master's degree. Raymond Brown, I was there when Raymond Brown had one kid. Now he's got 3. Andrea Voros, and so many people. I am beside myself, literally, truly, to be amongst some of the greatest people that I've ever known in my life, professionally, personally. And again, as Vicentia says so well, you don't get to issue 100 without having a group of people like that in your corner. It makes all things possible. It means that all the haters can kiss that butt. It means that all the big companies and all the companies who get a lot of press when we should be getting good press, all of them can't match us, because we've got not only great content, no one else has Clock Striker or Apple Black. We only have great creators. No one else, not everybody has White Manga, Morgan Walker, Andrea Voros, Oscar Fong, Mike, and all these great creators, Raymond Brown, and so on and so forth. Not everybody has all that. But no one has as well the 100 issues under the belt, which comes from having great people who are just there. They're focused. They believe. They support us. They sacrifice. They do everything. And I am literally just amazed that we've been able to build this. I've never in my life been more proud to be associated with a group of people than I am with the people of Saturday AM. it's why we won't get beat. It's why we were gonna take this thing all the way to the level, and you guys will be here because you will have remembered this moment and all the moments we've had. And you'll be there when that movie comes out of Apple Black or that anime show hits Hulu. You're gonna say, "Oh shit, I was there. I remember these guys." And you're right, because we were there, and we've taken it step by step. We've broadcast everything to you guys, all our faults, all of our positives, all of our wins, all of our failures. We've always been real with you guys, and that's what's going to take us to the top. So thank you guys so much. I appreciate it. We'll see you guys for the next pitch session. We'll see you for the next pub talk. Check us out when we debut our Kickstarter. We hope you guys support it. And last but not least, Road to 100. We're going to be kicking it off this coming week or next weekend with issue 91. Within these next 9 issues, folks, you're going to get Apple Black, you're going to get Blake Showers, you're going to get Saigami, you're going to get Bully Eater, you're going to get Clock Strike, you're going to get Master Multiplayer World of Ghost, you're going to get Soul Beat. Tons of cool properties. So thanks a lot, folks. Love you guys. Thank you so much. We will talk to you guys again soon. Take care.